I'm live. It's on. Ooh, sorry about that. Sorry about that, Devon. I had some technical difficulties. Welcome to the Veil. Welcome to Friday Night Lectures. See a lot of lights as you step in the room. Put that ashe in there. Let's get that power started. And let's get this activated. Let's get this energy just right as we rise into the understanding of our greatest enemy, so to speak, our greatest enemy. We're gonna get into the Gnostic text tonight. Well, I pulled out a couple scriptures that we're gonna pull out too to see a deeper understanding on that. The main focus is to remain focused. You've heard that in almost every other rapper said that. But the main focus is to remain focused. Our discipline is standing on our square and standing in our truth that's our level of believing. We don't come from an aspect of believing based on belief. We have an understanding of believing based on our knowing. We have faith in our knowing. We have faith in ourselves. We have faith in loving ourselves in knowing. A lot of Gnostic scriptures detail that, and I said it during the pre-show. Sin, I said that I believe I said that last week. Sin is a byproduct, but all sin means is a lack of knowledge. When you look at the Hebrew text, shink, it means lack of knowledge. When you go into the Greek concordance, it means it's a byproduct. The Gnostic priesthood, they weren't into staying away. And when you start understanding the Gnostic text, you'll start understanding that's where a lot of the morality and the exoteric understandings of morality came for that were in Christianity. A lot of the moralities that don't do this and don't do that and don't do this and don't do that derived from the Gnostic text. So in order for us to understand and break away, we truly have to understand the contradictions. We have to understand the contradictions of that what was put in front of our face at first. We have to understand the contradictions. One of the big things that's happening to us, I've noticed is happening to me in my personal, is I'm finding myself in a loop. In the beginning of my first couple of awakenings, I felt myself in a loop, circling back to certain aspects of my life that needed more understanding. Sometimes it would even be more understanding. I just had to remember what the hell I said during these times. A lot of the times you'll go through an ugly phase, you'll go through a breakup, you'll be in a relationship, for an example, any relationship that happens outside of you is a relationship with yourself. Any understanding that you gain from any fear that you have in a relationship or any understanding you have of a relationship, jealousy is a byproduct of insecurity within you. You can't be jealous. A person cannot be jealous of another person. It's simply a reflection of an insecurity within them. See how that goes together, how it would contradict itself. We have to start looking at the contradictions of what we're going into as we're moving forward. The human thought, immorality, and ego are the greatest sins to a God. Human thought in the Gnostic text that's the ultimate sin. Human thought is the ultimate sin. Anything that's derived from a human thought or invoked through a human thought is your sin. That's the sin against yourself. The thing that you say that you sacrifice in your day-to-day are sins against your higher self. Your lack of knowledge, your lack of understanding of what you're sacrificing or what you're saying that you're sacrificing is the very thing that's holding you back. If you don't understand something that says, you don't understand words like demon, you don't understand what angels, you don't understand these, you don't understand the words or the etymology of words. When you read across it, it resonates with you because it's something that you should be paying attention to. But are you listening? Are you reading it just to say, okay, cool, I got this little bit of information, let me go put it on, let me post it on Facebook to show people how smart I am? Are you running to your Instagram, on your Snapchat, posting something to show how smart you are? Or are you really breaking it down for yourself to be able to interpret it and apply it to your day-to-day? A lot of us get stuck in that day-to-day hustle and bustle, that back and forth, and we get stuck in the moment of something that we should learn from. Every step of your day is not only created by you, but it's taught by you. It's a moment for you to be taught. Something as simple as your job making you angry. Something as simple as your job making you angry. Why is your job angering you? It's a byproduct of something else. The byproduct of sin, the byproduct, ignorance. Sin is the byproduct of ignorance. So we got to look at both levels. From the higher level, when you come into your higher self and you understand the etymology of these words, demons, angels, you start understanding the occult and understand that it means the hidden culture or your subconscious. At that new level where you're at, where you're relating yourself to and you're becoming more familiar with, everything below that level sees it as a threat, or it sees it as its very own sin. It sees it as what it needs to see it as. So whenever, and I started thinking about this when I was thinking about church folk, good old Christians, Muslims, whatever they may be, whatever steers you, you have one of two choices. Either you are governing and becoming, or you're serving. You're either becoming it or you're serving it. These are the duality. Either you're becoming it, that where you look at it as, does this serve me or does this serve me? Does it not serve me? The negatives and the positive, both sides of the coin. Or are you serving it, where you're allowing something outside of you to give you one side of the story? A big example of that outside of that's one side of the story is when you look at the TV or you look at media and they show you a killing or they show you something on the news from one angle, but they don't give you the other story. We have been trained to look at an image and reply to it in a way of our emotions. We allow our emotions to get the best of us. We allow our emotions to run us. We don't run our emotions. The byproduct of your emotions is your feelings towards something. You'll step into a situation just because we've done it before, especially as niggas. Talk about a party. Who all over there? See, I could have dealt with one of them. I could have dealt with one of them people over there, but you got all three of the people I don't fuck with, so I'm gonna fall back. And then the next day, you're at work, wherever next day you meet up, man, yo, we had a blast. Why are you allowing things outside of you to stop you from having fun? To stop you from actually getting to where you need to get to? Everything has an origin, everything breaks down from somewhere, but you got to step into those origins to understand where it came from. Where did your love for what you love come from? Where did your distaste for something come from? What is it a byproduct of? These are the types of things that we're going to get into and the things we need to start thinking about. Where did it come from? A lot of us get these origins and we get these origins and then we start looking, yeah, white people came from this and they came out of caves. Okay, cool. So who gave them their power? The same ones that created them. You're a god, right? It means at a certain point in time you created them. You put everything that was human that you despised about yourself into something else. And then you wrote a check. Describing it line by line. The byproducts of everything. Then you fell asleep. Then you woke up. And here you are. Hey, you. Hey, baby. Hey, how are you? And ever since then, you've been getting smacked on your ass to make sure you're still competent to what they're saying. Every day you get smacked in the fucking face as a child to keep you in line. Every day you're getting smacked on the ass to make sure you're still compliant. A lot of these things are rituals that we don't even realize are rituals. We look at the obvious. As a human, you're looking at the obvious. But you're a God. The things that appease the humans don't appease you. The things that get to the humans don't get to you. You have to move yourself in that mindset. And just like with anything, as you approach something new, you learn. So just like when you're at your job and you learning that fucking certification on that forklift operating, or you're learning that certification to be a supervisor of some sort, it's the same thing that's happening in your day-to-day when you're learning. So I'm going to give you one thing to think about, then we're going to unveil it into the thought. If you're down here and you're the root, you're the source of everything that they want. Remember, everybody likes to say they love black culture, but they don't like black people. So you're the root of the culture at this level. You're the power source, the roots at this level. But for something to have a root and grow and get stronger, it reaches towards a light. It reaches towards the power source of equal to it. We look at all of these mythos. One of the mythos that I looked at that I always get into, I remember when I was always in the God of War. The whole God of War game mythic. I was always in the Aesop's fables. I was always into the mythos. I was always in the story of Hercules and just absorbing this information, not knowing that later on in my time, in my studies, as I'm older, as I'm more into my higher self, I was reading about myself. Bobby Emmett had done countless lectures over it. Dr. David Blair, his transitionist, did many lectures over it. Myth does not mean a fable. They told you a myth was a fable. A myth is a philosophy or an allegory explaining something based on a myth, basing something based on philosophy to be told over and over again. Similar to how our chiefs and our ancestors, so if you like talking about ancestors, used to tell their stories to music because the music was resonating that memory. Then we lost our understanding of music and what music actually was. And now we're saying music is fucking horrible, man. This music is so fucking... Man, I meditate to 21 Savage. I do a lot of my shadow work to Kevin Gates. I'm even going to explore a little bit of that new Eminem album. Once you understand the spell, you are able to manipulate it for your own gain. What are you gaining with the spell is what separates you from your humanity and your godhood, stepping into your God self, your higher self. So if you're using your magic in aspects to put spells on motherfuckers, you have to remember, did you become Papa Legba? or one of the Orishas? Or are you serving them? There's a difference. The very big difference between becoming and serving. At this realm, everything is exploited. Everything feeds from something. Whether you a vegan, whether you eat meat, a vegetarian, none of that matters at the higher level because you have to understand how to manipulate and use it anyway. You're simply, if you're doing it and you're treating it like a religion, then you're feeding the archons or the evil entities at this level your energy, your essence. You're giving them your essence. See Jupiter rising. You're giving them your essence. You're giving them a thought process, Ashe. You're giving them a thought process, something to feed upon. I forgot the white guy's name, but in his campaign, I think he's a politician of some sort. In his campaign, that motherfucker says out loud, follow the niggas. He doesn't say follow the niggas. He says follow the niggers. Follow the niggas, because that's where it's at. You've always been where it's at. So you've always been where it's at. Who's really in control? If I want to remain in control and keep my power, I build a defense. My defense will be something that I define. Remember, the one that can define things has the power. I define something for you to hate. I define something for you to love. I define what you hate. I define what you need to eat. I define where you sleep. I define when you sleep. I define the 24 hours in the day. I use your information against you. I lose yours against you. I use the mundane of your knowledge against you. I'll use Black History Month against you. And what are you going to do? It's Black History 365. Cool. It's Black History 365. So then you took it from 1 month of year of remembrance to 12 years to 12 months of remembrance. Think about that. Now you put 365 days of remembrance. When are you going to take time to apply something? I looked at all the books of everything that we've invented. We invented every fucking thing. But what are you doing with it now? Everything from the stoplight to the comb to the first doctor's instruments. You invented it. You took everything you created. We knew about sound therapy because we understood that we had the tune set to your whatever resonated with you. We put you into that tune, and that's when you healed. It was only when it was when it was something that cannot be healed through the spirit that they cut into you. We already knew these things. We already have that. We're so far ahead that we're now behind. So what are you learning from? Something locked you here. Some of us got locked here. Some of us came down. Some of us got locked down here, and some of us came down. When you start going into your Akashic records, and when I start getting in contact with me about sound, breathing exercises, all these different exercises and methodologies, if you haven't looked them up yourself, I put together a couple. I'm putting that pen to that paper, writing them spells out so you can get in tune with yourself. So I'll leave that link up there. We'll leave that link as we get rolling into the lecture. When you start doing your sound therapy and your shadow work, and you start working on yourself and getting into yourself, everything comes back online to a certain few. The ones that got sent down here, I'm gonna give you a secret about the ones that got sent down here. The ones that got sent down here are heavily fucking protected. I have been heavily fucking protected because half of the shit that I've done throughout my existence in this life, I should have like 12 kids. I should have been to prison 6 times. I should have the most insane baby mothers. Just thinking about the crazy shit that you did and you survived. You were protected. They would say God's on your side. Hell yeah, your God self is on your side. It ain't ready. But just like anything, you're going to get to that point where one or two things are always going to happen. You're going to transition. He died, my baby died too soon. And you're just going to repeat the fucking trip. I'm not trying to repeat this trip. So what I'm going to do is make sure I don't repeat this trip. So I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. That separation, that distance, those moments of distance and separation between each path. You worrying about the destination, you need to read the path. You need to read what's in front of you. The shit that comes up, you need to read what's in front of you. Those angers that come up, you need to read that. You need to tap into that anger like, ooh, why does this make me angry? And why does this make me happy? And why does this make me sad? Question everything. Even the things that you seen were good, they all link to something. Everything links, everything connects, everything is everything. If you were in the right state of mind, if we were all in the right state of mind and we were all in that consciousness, how would you know you were conscious? If everybody was conscious, how would you know you were conscious? How would you know that you awakened if you didn't have a barometer? So that takes your mindset. These are the types of things that you put in as you're reprogramming your subconscious. These are the things that you put into your mind to make an understanding of what you're doing on that duality and that balance of that mayat. This is how you balance yourself out. There has to be niggas because they got to be gods. I thought about the evolution theory. They were like, well, we came from monkeys. So why? So when are the other monkeys going to evolve? Think about that. Things to think about that actually stimulate your mindset on a deeper level. Start thinking. You have to start taking in the most bizarre shit to start translating. Like, man, that's fucking stupid as hell. I still hear people talking about the Bible, and they'll say, believing in, and it had like Noah's Ark, Adam and Eve, and some other stuff, and saying believing that was crazy. But at the bottom half, it had the Yoruba story and 3 other stories at the bottom, and they're like, believing that is crazy. They're 2 sides of the same fucking coin. They're each a different side of the coin. If you look at the Adam and Eve story, and you look at you look at the creation story in the first place, and you go back to the first version of the Bible that was put out, it tells you about Lilith. The first version of the Bible that came out, that was directed from the Coptic priest, the derivative from the Gnostic sect, as everything was slowing down, the Coptic text, it tells you about Lilith. It tells you about, and then you go into that aspect of that, it's like, then you're like, they always trying to keep our women down. And then you have another person come up and talk about how they keeping the woman down. I always hear these things. Hidden Colors was a great documentary. Great. A lot of our most intelligent historians, a lot of our intelligence historians. Historians can only tell us about the day of then. All these books, all these texts is only going to tell you about then. As you go further back, you'll keep learning about now. The further you go back, you start seeing now. The Gnostic text is about now. Everything that you're seeing, everything that you go through, and everything that you walk on is in the now. And you have to have a deeper understanding. When you're reading these texts, similar to when I was in catechism, I finally remember the word. When I was in catechism, I remember every day going home, my pops would always be like, you can't read it with the mind, you got to read it with the spirit. All right, what spirit do I read it with? The spirit of Jesus. All right, I'm going to read it like Jesus would read it. And I read it like Jesus would read it. And I used to laugh, and then I would get popped upside the head for like, why are you laughing at Jesus' works? Because in my imaginative, I was still very godlike. I never ever stepped out of my God sense. I was thinking like Jesus. So if I was a magician and I was a kid and I'm reading the story of Jesus, those other texts that are taken out of the Bible, and I'm reading it and I'm looking at all his works, and I'm a magician, magicians always look happy to me. Juggling shit and doing all the other little mischievous things as a child. That's the same story and allegory of the things that you did when you were using your imagination. It's an allegory to explain you. We get stuck on, and we still are stuck on, fuck Jesus. When you get to this level, the level that you have to attain and step through a lot of shit to get to, you start realizing if I say fuck Jesus, I'm saying fuck me because I'm the Christ. So you're thinking about on both sides of duality to make that balance. There has to be a Jesus, esoterically, and that outward at this level. Because on the higher level, you become Jesus. You become the Christ. On this level, for you to understand it, there has to be voodoo. There has to be the teachings of spell work. There has to be Papa Legba. There has to be Baron Samdei. There has to be Mama de la Huerta. There has to be Cristo del Negro. There has to be these entities at this level, because you have to understand either you're becoming it or you're serving it. If you're serving it, you're just transferring from the Christianity that you were in, the Islam, the Buddhist, whatever you were in, you're just transferring over and putting a whole different set of deities into play. And yes, since they are more directly tied to you, you'll get whatever you want doing the practices. But you must continue doing the practices. Just like if you go outside and your car don't start and you say, Jesus, fix my car. And you say that shit, that mantra over and over and again, you're just saying it in your mind because you're using your power. You're just not strong enough. You're not confident enough in your power. So you go outside and your car start. Thank you, Jesus. When it was you that stood out there for 15 minutes turning the key, making that shit start. It's you sticking the key in, putting in the work, but you're giving your power to something else. It's the same thing with the Orishas. I have nothing against the Orishas. I talk with a lot of Ifa priests and Orisha priests throughout my days, but I'm talking to the higher levels of them. I'm talking to the higher ups. I'm dealing with them on that level. The reason I'm talking to them on that level because I'm a peer. I become the energy. So the moment I became Lucifer, it was because after a while, the God mantra finally told me when I was channeling my dream, I was like, "Nigga, you got to be more. You just can't be God. You got to be something more. You're something more. You should be striving. Your hunger is what's going to serve you, or are you going to serve it? Are you serving your hunger, or are you becoming your hunger? I'm hungry at all times. I'm less hungry for the physical and more hungry for my spiritual. Once you get to that level of being more hungry for your spiritual than more hungry for the physical, shit changes. Your shit shifts. The things that you were worrying about on that lower level don't fucking matter. When I stepped in, I purged myself of everything that I thought wasn't spiritual. I was like, I would read books, become a vegan. I'm gonna drink more water. Certain processes stuck out, but it was on a morality. You're on that esoteric, so you're in that morality sense. You start seeing where your mind's at in that sense of morality. So you get stuck like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this because if I don't do this, then Oshun's gonna be angry with me. Who the fuck says she's gonna be angry with you? You're mad at you're thinking Oshun is gonna be mad at you. Meanwhile, I'm in the astral plane somewhere up there chilling with Oshun. Are you becoming or are you serving? As that veil lifts, you start seeing what you served and what you believed in. The things that get to you on this level, and we're going to get into these things that get into on this level. That degrees of separation gives you the clarity for what's next. When you get to a certain level and you proclaim that you're a queen, you're a king, you're a goddess, you're a god, you're a titan, you're a chaos being, you're that higher level energy, you can no longer be served the shit of the mundane. It don't work that way. You can't be served the shit of the mundane. You can't sit down here at this level and not partake of what a God would partake of. A God indulges in everything that is of pure. The Anunnaki told you that they breathe gold. That means your air ain't the fucking same as the humans. That's what these are the interpretations that you get from certain things when you start reading them. Read it as a God. Read it as what you are, not who you were. You can't read this shit as a fucking, if you read this shit the same way you read the fucking Bible in school, whenever you were going to vocational Bible school, I never had to go to that because I was in catechism, whole different level. When you're sitting there reading this shit as a human, you're going to have that sense of wonder and want to serve it. You'll want to serve a Legba. You'll want to serve your ancestors. You'll want to serve your spirit gods instead of becoming the equal to your spirit gods. Because if you sit here and you put yourself into a mindset, and it's that mindset that motherfuckers put themselves into, that you're going to be serving something else, it means you don't have the confidence in yourself. You don't have the strength in yourself. You don't have an understanding or a sense of knowing in yourself. So you're not standing on your square. You're not standing in your path. You're not standing in your truth. Therefore, you're not grounded. Therefore, anything can sweep you off your feet. Anything can sweep you off your feet simply because you're not grounded to anything. Where are your roots? I looked at something interesting about Africa, and everybody's like, Africa keeps getting raped for all of its resources. Okay. None of this shit matters about them taking gold and taking copper and taking whatever else they take from Africa. The only thing that matters that they never can get to, and they keep trying to create through D-Wave computers and artificial intelligence and robots and all this shit, is your divine spark. Whenever you look into these texts and they talk about the divine spark, they're talking about your soul. Whenever you look at, it made me look at the shows that I used to watch back in the day and why they stuck out to me. I remember always looking at Star Trek and looking at the different whatchamacallits. That's what this is on that level. They show you everything through a movie. They show you everything through television because they don't have the ability. Remember, their intellectual ceiling is your spiritual floor. Their intellectual ceiling is your spiritual floor. So if you're afraid of something underground that's going to grab you, this ain't for you. You ain't there yet. But since you're here listening to this message and it's resonating with you, it's speaking to something in you, you got to open your mind. Your mind is the lock to the door to where the God's door. The mind. So you can't hold this door open for, once again, that unity that they want to put into you, that hope that they want to give to you. I can't hold the door open for the others. We can't hold the doors open for the others. It don't work that way. Because the only way to get into that door is your own mind. So if your mind is not unlocked, you can't get the message. Therefore, you can't step through the door. So that's when that compassion comes in. I understand your plight. I'm going to leave some breadcrumbs, but I'm going to go in here and get this feast. It's just like whenever you look at, I use Dragon Ball Z as an example because I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with Dragon Ball Z. And I saw something also I noticed when I was watching Seven Deadly Sins, and I'm gonna get into that. That's gonna be the next thing I'm gonna get into. But on Dragon Ball Z, there was Burris and Wiz, but I forgot his damn name, whatever his name was. But the only way Bulma can get him down here is like she was showing him confectionery sweets. Something for them to indulge in on this level. Something that's sweet to the tongue, bitter to the belly. The shit that you're taking in at the human level is sweet to your tongue. It's sweet to your eyes, but it's bitter to your belly. It's bitter to your whole digestive system and how you digest life. That's his name. That's his name. He's also I saw something about, he's actually a fucking angel. I didn't even know that. That's not here nor there. But you take yourself into that thought process for yourself. You're looking at images to put you into this thought process of, damn, they're living a good life. Because they have physical pieces. They have gold. They got the chains. They got the car. They got the nice rod. They got the big ass house. I'm not saying that we shouldn't strive for these things, but you have to understand where you're at in this whole game. If you accept something, are you becoming it or are you serving it? So are you becoming the very energy that you need? Are you becoming the money or are you serving the money? You got to become it to destroy it, to defeat it. You must submit to the attributes of what the ideal is that you are going towards in order to take yourself to the next level. So you have to kill yourself before you kill yourself. But we still get stuck on, they're killing us. They're killing us. Every time somebody of us transitions, I say Ashe. I invoke that power. I bring that power back. Every time something of negative is shined on us, I reverse that power back to me. Because if I reply to it in an emotional manner, when you reply to these things in an emotional manner, it sets your mind up to be fed upon. They feed off your emotion. They feed off your anger. They feed off your fear. They feed off your sorrow. They even feed off of your happiness. They feed off your happiness because the minute that you want to boycott Gucci for blackface, it's part of your history. You boycott Gucci for blackface. All right, cool. What you gonna wear? Let's see how long they last before they go put some Gucci back on. When in reality, we had an outlet for all the prints that we ever wanted. From all of them, Dapper Dan. 90%, whenever you looked at the rap videos in the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, 90% of their wardrobe they got from Dapper Dan. So we originated that thought process of creating nothing from something. Our whole mindset, our whole mantra in our lives is creating nothing from something. We create nothing from something, nothing from something. But what are you using at this point? You do it unconsciously all the fucking time. You create nothing from something. You make a way. But at this lower level, you're making a way to survive. When are you going to tuck that shit up a notch and make something to destroy? You're the God. You're the generator, operator, and destroyer. You're the creator. Because something's above you, refracting that same energy back down, keeping you locked here, keeping you distracted. Keeping you distracted on the hope that my people are going to rise. I got to hope that my people are going to rise. I don't have to hope that my people rise because the ones that are inclusive with me on my level they've already risen. Everybody else has to catch the next flight. Everybody else got to catch the next bus. I'm sorry, you got to catch the next ride. I mean, it ain't bad. You just got to catch the next bus. There's some breadcrumbs sitting outside of the door. Are you hungry enough to do it? Your hunger in your spiritual rising will keep you focused. On the lower level, your hunger makes you distracted. Think about whenever you're hungry, you don't think about shit but the fucking burger that you want to eat. You don't think about shit but what you're hungry for. So now all of your energy is in tune to something else that you want. And your mind's out of your desire world. So now you're not desiring anything. I don't desire, man. I need that double cheeseburger in my life. All right, cool. You need that double cheeseburger in life. Bet, cool. That is cool as fuck. But while you sitting eating that double cheeseburger, I done broke away and learned how to make that same fucking emotional feeling that I'm feeding from to make it what I happen to eat it. And I can take that bottle of water. If anybody's seen the movie Hook, that scene when they were sitting at that big ass table, they said that table, you got to remember, Pan. You got to remember, Pan. You got to remember. You got to imagine. Use your imagination. And they created everything that they wanted in front of them to eat. Same thought process. You saw it as a children's movie. It was a learning experience for you. Hell, the entire Peter Pan series, everything from the Peter Pan series to Winnie the Pooh, all these things, you can encode and interpret them into what they actually were. Remember, we all thought, it wasn't, how old were you when you found out that the entire Winnie the Pooh series was talking about Christopher Robin and his emotions, his depression, his happiness, his OCDs? How old were you when you figured that out? Everything's been encoded in light. The occultist mindset or studying the hidden is to be able to see the story within the story. So what is it really telling you? You get to a certain point when you're in that angry woke phase, everything pisses you the fuck off because you see the subliminals and everything, and everything's triggering you because you don't know which trigger to go at first. Because when you gotta start doing that shadow work, so everything makes you angry. Fuck white people. Fuck this. Fuck that. I have no hate in my heart because that's a burden. Putting your heart against that weight of that feather, that Mayette turn, putting your weight against the heart of that feather. That's the burdens that you put on your heart as a human. That's the human thought. That's the humanity aspect. So you sitting there and you're upset about some shit that happened however many years ago, how many months ago, how many weeks ago. That shit ain't got nothing to do with nothing right now. That shit happened. Once it happened, it already happened. What are you doing? What did you learn? It ain't what it bought. It's not what it brought you to. It is not what it bought you. It's what did it teach you? Because everything outside of that is simply a byproduct of what you learned or what you didn't learn. That's why the shit repeats itself. Shit'll repeat itself over and over and over again because you ain't learned. Remember that spiral effect of your life? It's a circle. Everything that you needed to learn is going to keep coming back into your face. Where you're at is going to show you where you're at now and what you need to go through. The meditations, the visualizations, the shadow work, all of your disciplines for yourself, all that is training you, is retraining your mind for when the real shit happens. So when you see something like Iran on fucking TV, you can look back and be like, oh, that's like Desert Storm all over again. They're about to do another sacrifice. When you see the R. Kelly 2 story, Surviving R. Kelly 2 up, damn, they got more? You start thinking like, why would they put up more? When you start thinking about they created right there in your face because your subconscious records everything is real. So, and I looked at the show Messiah on Netflix, mad fucking interesting. And I was looking at how they put everything together. And I started peeping it like, wait, whoa, they putting it in our face right now in real time, talking about this, that, and the third. Whoa, they putting it right in our face for real. Like they really putting it in our face. Right here in our face in real life time. And we'll sit there and be like, nah, you still stuck on a Trump war. The fuck Trump got to do with anything? Trump is a byproduct of your fears. The same way that they created that white man in the cave, when you go and look at that story, that history, is the same way you created Trump. All of your hatred, all your manifestations of fear, something oppressing you, something not doing something your way, something not going towards your way, you created that shit into your fucking life. The same way motherfuckers run around sitting there talking about, I hate niggas, niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit. You create a manifest, guess what you attract into your life? Niggas ain't being shit and bitches ain't being shit. But you're a god. Why the fuck are you worried about niggas not being shit? Because something in you still ain't shit. Something in you still is making you a bad bitch. Something inside of you haven't looked at yet. You haven't peeked into yet. You are understanding that you're creating the byproduct in real time. So now that even when you don't, and then even when you get to the point when you don't, the byproduct's still there. It's something for you to learn from. So you take it from, you have to get past the negative aspect of it. It's similar to when you look at any story, you look at the story of Osiris and he was cut into 14 pieces. Each one of that was a different attribute. They can't replace the penis, the phallus, so she fashioned one out of gold. Then you go back to the story. Where did Osiris and all these other principles come from? From the dark comes light. So if they're all light, they're all of the light, they're all of the sun, where did they come from? And then you got to understand the archetype of Set. Every attribute of Osiris, Anpu, or Anubis, Thoth, all of them, they're all attributes of Set. They're all angles of light from the eternal darkness. So you still want to stay in the light, Go to the light, Carolyn, go to the light. You want to stay in the light and wonder why shit keep happening, that keep triggering your darkness. Because the longer you stay in the light, the more the darkness gets triggered in your life. The more you start to say positive, negative things come to try to test your positivity. The stuff that you ain't looking back at. I don't want to look back there. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that bad relationship. I don't want to think about that time that happened when I was 3. I don't want to think about whoever came in my room when I was 6 and 7 years old. I don't want to think about those moments. I only want to concentrate on the now. You will never get to your now. You will never get to your divine next step until you look back at the things that locked you in, the things that created who you are. You don't know who you are. You don't know who you are and what created you here. So how can you embrace what you are when they're both sides, they're two sides of the same coin? Everything that made you who you are is illuminated. Everything that what you are is on the dark side. So until you turn the coin over and start understanding your dark side, the darker side, your shadow side, then the light is still going to be sustained. It's still going to have your power defeated. It's still going to feel defeated. You're still going to feel defeated. You're still going to feel, I'm angry all the time. Why am I always angry? Why am I always upset? Why am I always this? Why am I always that? Because you haven't learned from it. The byproduct of your ignorance. You have to put yourself in the position, and once you put yourself there, that's when your divine understanding kicks in. Let me get into this byproducts. I was trying to put the music back on because I like the music in the background. it opens up. It opens up on sides. Once again, Scribe. It's a great app. It has almost every PDF that you need to find for free. It isn't for free, but you can download it unlimited. It's $8.99 a month for unlimited downloads. I download everything from, I got a book that I just peeked into, How to Become a God by Michael Faust. Michael, spelled like Michael Faust, Faust. I'm going to dive into this book probably a little bit later just to get more into that. The Mysteries and the Secrets of Voodoo, of the Santeria, The Magical Powers of the Saints, The Hoodoo in the Psalms, Carnal Alchemy. And these are the things that the Gnostic priests were doing. The early Christians were in that pagan, or where the pagans derivatives from. You got to understand, everything is a byproduct. That's why whenever you look at Christianity and it has 1,000 different, I don't even mean fucking sects or denominations, it's because each one broke off from the original. All right, I'm going to take this, what I like about this, I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to take what I know about Mormons, I'm going to make my sect over here. It's all recreated over and over and over again at this level based on the morality. It all comes to the same source. They can't get to the source of where you're going. So they have to find different ways, different paths, different conduits to absorb your energy. Because at a point in time over here, I give you something to think about. And it takes you into your thought process about your very divine, I want to put the word in there that makes sense. It takes you into your thought process of your very belief. Most of our beliefs are based upon, most of our beliefs are only based upon something that was told to you before. So your grandmother telling you, say your prayers before you go to sleep, and when you were little, you believed in it because your grandmother was that source that you wanted to believe in it from. You believed it. But after a while, as a child, you play with the childish things. But as a man, you got to put those childish things away. As a human, you dibbled and dabbled and you did your little vision boards and you did your astrology. That's good. That was your beginning stages. Whenever you was looking in the paper or looking on your fucking phone every day for your zodiac, that's good. That's your beginning. But the man that knows one book knows none. And that's deeper than just the knowledge, the book. That goes, everything is everything. So you can say your chief sign, your rising sign is sun sign is Aquarius, and your lower sign is Leo, wherever the sun was positioned. What that's telling you to do is you got to study both of those and everything in between. That's why your moon sign is always lower than your sun sign. Your sun sign is always higher in the zodiac than your moon sign. Your moon sign is somewhere lower, depending on when you were born. Critical thought. You got to look at every piece in between. You're looking at the different paths. You're looking at the destinations. So I look at my zodiac being Aquarius, and I'm only looking at my Libra moon or my Virgo rising, but I'm not looking at everything in between it. The destinations like change are always inevitably going to be there. Your evolution and understanding the path, you got to read the path in between that. Gnosis, the book I'm gonna grab some stuff out from now is Gnosis. I hope y'all know how to spell Gnosis. Gnosis. The Secret of Solomon's Temple Revealed by Philip Grandiner. He's also the author of The Serpent Grail. That's also another good book. Philip, Philip Grandiner, Gardiner. Review for Gnosis. Gnosis by Philip Grandiner is a refreshing creation of the true spiritual teaching as well-being and a good read. We gotta get past that. Start sitting here. And then you start understanding that them white people that you don't like, Blavatsky, they got their information from the Gnostic text. They got them from your text. They got it from you. Crowley got it from you. The channels that he was allowed to get, he got it from you. Then he wrote the Book of Law. Fraser, all of these people, all of these entities. I was watching, it was very interesting. I was watching Aquarius. It's a show on Netflix. It's around the time of Charles Manson and the Black Panther, around that whole era. And it's showing everything that happened around the time of Charles Manson that turned Charles Manson into what he was. They're painting a picture of Charles Manson. So it's a very good thing to look at. Every time they put one of their people up there and show them in this bright light, and then they show you the darker side, pay attention to it, because they very rarely do that. They very rarely do that. From one aspect, in the emotional aspect, if you're in your emotional side and you're in your lower self, you'll look at it and be like, see, I told you, that's why I don't fuck with white people, because they're crazy. But from your divine occult, your higher side, you get to see exactly what you need to see. It's towards the episode when it's getting more geared up to they're putting the Black Panthers in the emphasis, and Manson, the person that revealed and gave him all of his information, his knowledge while he was in prison, was a black guy named Ralph. Sorry for giving you a spoiler. And he was like, I taught you and you built all this. This is what we're going to use it for. But then they twisted it as in the black person didn't want anything to do with the peace and translucent. He wanted to destroy some shit. But what they were showing you is Charles Manson's true nature started coming out. We don't eat none of the colored people's food. I don't care how enlightened or intellectually sound the new age of these archons and they're going to sound very pleasurable and they're going to sound very good. Does that sound very familiar? Like the story when they tell you about the devil, the king of all lies and all of this and this. They tell you the king of all lies, but then they put out a show like Lucifer to show you the softer side of Lucifer's that's a wayward child going through some childhood traumas. You're just a child. They're just children going through traumas. They're reflecting your traumas back onto you. If you were put into a position where you didn't see anything but darkness and you came out into the light, you would reach for the light. You would want the light. You would want to be up top by nature. So if I give you the ability, if I say, if you do this, if I give you a list of tasks to do to get that light, to get that bag, you'll do it at any fucking cost. You'll do it at all costs. You'll defend your shit at all fucking costs. I remember looking at interviews. There was an interview in it was based in Egypt, and they did the translator. And the dude, which was an Arab, he got angry when they were talking about, so what about the black people being the originals? They're nothing but monkeys. Then he got lividly pissed. And you look at it, and I laughed at it after I looked at it again. I was like, wow, they will do anything to defend the piece of what they have here. But why would you defend something so hard here at this level if you know you have to know something? In order to defend something with your life, you have to know something about it nobody else knows. In order to defend something with your life, you have to know something. That's all that you fucking know. So me defending this shit here, me wanting anything from here at this level is a contradiction to what I am. You wanting anything at this level is a contradiction to what you are. I'm not saying don't go acquire the things here, but understand what you're doing while you're here. They give you the image of spiritual motherfuckers at a point in time. Motherfuckers is broke and They give you that poor righteous teacher look. But it's all about your understanding and what you're invoking your energy into. Are you feeding, or are you being fed, or are you feeding? Are you becoming, or are you serving? A lot of us are still serving because that slavery mentality is still in your mind. Every moment that you say that you hate somebody, that slavery mentality is still in your mind. It's still in your subconscious. You got to pull that shit out. How you pull that shit out, there's methods to pulling it out, but there's just like I was looking at a post from one of my empath friends on my Facebook. She was like, I really don't like when somebody comes to me for a reading and they're not willing to accept what comes. They're not willing to apply anything else. You're so stuck on an image that you want something to make something seem better for you. So if I give you, I have motherfucking emails all the time about, hey, can you do this spell? We can do this, and this if we do this. That's not what I do. I'm not here to teach you I'm not here to teach you magic on the level to get the love of your life or to bring down somebody so you can get a job. That's lower level shit. The shit that I am coming into and I've come into is releasing from all of this shit. Once you realize you need nothing, you have everything anyway. Once you realize you have nothing, you have everything. You become the most abundant in the room. You become the most prosperous in the room because you're no longer going for the material byproduct. Alchemy has nothing to do with turning lead into gold. They told that from an exoteric standpoint, but when you understand the message and you relay the message and it resonates, you understand that turning lead to gold was turning your soul back on. The whole state of alchemy is turning your soul from the nothingness where it started, removing the nothing and becoming the gold. You're giving that example every day you look at the fucking sun. I don't care if it's an illusionary sun. I know that sun is a representation of my sun on this level. It has to be there. The moon has to be there. The stars have to be there. Everything is in position where it needs to be. Where are you in that position? Everything's in position where it needs to be playing out. Where are you at? What's in your wallet? What's in your pocket? What's in your heart? Is your heart lighter than a feather? These burdens that you put onto yourself every single fucking day. But what is my mother going to think? Burdens that you put on yourself every day. I can't stand these low vibration ass niggas always in my inbox. They're always going to be in your inbox as a learning experience. These lower vibrational bitches that always caddy on it's a constant state of war. How are you using the energy? Every time someone tells me something, in the beginning when I was putting on my post and I was starting to build the platform, I had a lot of them. I had a lot of the negatives come. And I used to contest a lot of the negatives or I didn't say anything at all. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, you're right. Take a shot towards their ego. All they're looking for at this level is to feed something. So that they need to feed their ego. They need to feed their fear. Because if something contradicts, they don't want to study the contradiction. They want to live in their contradiction. They want to live in their ignorant bliss. The Gnostic text, all through it, ignorance, the byproduct of ignorance is sin. Sin is a lack of knowledge. So your ignorance would, of course, be the byproduct of you having a lack of knowledge. So you're not standing in your square. You're not standing in your place. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So, of course, you become a sinner to somebody else. So, of course, to the good old Christians that see you as a devil worshiper and you're not coming to church, of course you're a sinner to them. So why would you denounce being a sinner? Because on one end, you have to be a sinner. It's just like on one end, you're a God. On the opposing end, somewhere you have to be the devil. You have to be Lucifer to somebody. Or how else do you know that you're God? And when you start studying your dark side and you look at Lucifer and the darker energies, how else do you know that you're Lucifer? There's no God. There's no Jesus at that level. The contradictions linked to help you get to your higher. But we get so stuck. I can confirm that the basic premise that Solomon's temple never existed. They said it in the book. True. I also agree that Grander writes with clarity and the most readers will enjoy his book. Please consider this book if you are at all interested. In a way, myths grow into war and all other things suffer. Please consider this book if you are and at all interested in why myths grow into war and other things the other things we suffer. Contradiction. Without one thing being destroyed, you can't create something else. Without life, there cannot be no death, and without death, there can't be no life. Without dark, there can be no light. From the darkness comes the true light. Man that knows one book knows none. All of these occult terms are about tapping into you. Gnosis will fascinate readers with the complex insights into spirituality, insights more advanced than the simplistic fairy tale-like bits of wisdom handed down by conventional religious dogma. That further goes into the point that religion is not spiritual. It's devoid of spiritual. It is the vex and morality of it is the illusion of emotionalism being used as a power source. The more you cry and the lower that you are and the more deprived that you are, the more that you're going to rise. It's true. The more deprived you are of the mental, the more deprived you are of money, the more you will seek knowledge to go get that job. So the more deprived you are of the material, you go look for the knowledge to go create it. But in between that, you get stuck because it's all about putting in that work. What work are you going to put in? You going to put in the work or you not? Either you working or you not. You hungry? How hungry are you? Put that table in front of your enemies, in front of the mirror. Put the mirror first, and then all your enemies will gather around the mirror. The mirror is going to show you your biggest enemy. And you're going to eat that knowledge and you read that book. Put that mirror in front of you. It's actually a ritual. Similar to the candle magic. Take the candle, get a nice floor mirror or a nice mirror that you can put the candle in front of. Take yourself into that deep trance, go into your deep self. This is how you get to your no self. This is how you get to that nothingness, that void of nothing. This is how you die and you go into limbo or into purgatory. Purgatory is nothing but a fancy pageantry type word to explain the inner space of your inner mind, going into your subconscious. Your purgatory is subconscious. Your purgatory is hell. Your purgatory is Hades. All these mythos talking about Hades and the river Styx and all of these things, all that is a mythos explaining the philosophy of your own divine mind. You must read it as a God. You must read it as the higher to understand it from the low, to understand the lower. You cannot create a problem. You cannot fix any issue on the level that was created because it's created there to sustain there. You can't make your nigga not cheat if he's at the level where all he's going to do is cheat. You can't make your bitch. You can't make the bad bitch stop taking pictures and getting attention on Instagram because that's where she gets her feeding from. She feeds from there. She feeds off of those likes. She feeds something inside of her. Whether it's broken or not has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. So why are you worried about the human shit? Why does it matter? You're getting stuck being fed for something else. We need an economic plan. All right, cool. Regardless, if you get an economic plan, where does the money trickle? Yes, the black dollars need to come back into the black community. Okay. But where was the money created in the first place to come into the Black community? And then you look back, we've already done it. So we know we can do that. But what is needed now? What is needed in your life now to get to the beautiful you? The ugly truth is going to lead you to the beautiful you. All these lies that they tell you, they're true somewhere else. They're true to them because that's how they sustain their reality. It's about perception. The lies that they tell themselves to live, the same lie you tell yourself whenever you ate that piece of cake and you said that you weren't fat. I can eat one more piece of cake. I can go to sleep one more time. I can stay asleep a little bit longer. You lie to yourself every single day to sustain a reality for yourself. You lie to yourself every day to sustain a reality for yourself. So how long are you going to lie to yourself? So if you lie to yourself, everything that is going to come into your life is going to at some point in time lie to you based on the level of how you lie to yourself. So if you lie to yourself and say these jeans or this shirt don't make me look fat, or you suck in, or you go get wrapped and wrap your body or do whatever you're doing on the cosmetic level, who's to say that the nigga that come in front of you to have a conversation with you ain't lying either? It's what you're reflecting. Until you understand yourself, you can't understand nothing else. One man that knows one book knows none. Let's get into this Gnostic text. That is some long ass shit. The serpent. We're going to start with the serpent. It's all broken down in here. The serpent, the Kundalini, the shining, the void, the hidden Bible, ancient religious texts, the goddess in the temple and the Templars, Solomon's secrets. Chapter 10 is mystic, alchemists, and Gnostics. And then they got a conclusion. Okay. The introduction. Starts with, you will be like Erectus secut descentis bonum et malum. That's what is written. And it has in parentheses, you will be like God, consciousness of good and evil, or negative and positive, light and dark. Many people have no understanding of what the word gnosis means. Others think that it simply means knowledge and leave it at that. Yet there's a deeper meaning. In is goddamn spirit. It is a word that gives rise to the title gnosis, or one who has special knowledge. The true definition of the term gnosis is directed mystical experience is the direct mystical experience of the divine in the self. The true definition in the term of gnosis is the direct mystical experience of the divine in the self. First line tells you that the shit is based on your experience. The exoteric teaching that we have been taught is something outside of us is going to be better than us that can help us because we are worthless. The esoteric understanding is, the contradiction is, you're the very power source that is needed for all of this to move. You're the power source. You're the most valuable mineral. You're the most, in the conduit of a mineral, you're the most valuable. Your melanin, your soul is the most valuable piece, period. It is the most beautiful you, period. It is the true you. Everything that you're doing is getting back to your soul. Everything you should be doing should be feeding your soul, feeding your body of light. Remember, you're having an experience as a human. You've never been human. You can go back through history and just look at how they called you a savage, a monkey, a monster. Embrace, submit to the attributes of the ideal of what they say you are, and you shall walk around cleanly. You'll walk around divine because they can't touch you. They already can't get to what's inside of you. So if you put on a layer that they say that you already are, you win. Everything's a learning experience. It's the realization of the true nature of ourselves that cannot be discerned through intellectual dogma or doctrine, but only through experience. The beliefs and the ultimate secrets of the Christian Gnostics are a mystery to most people. They practice spirituality that is distinctly more Eastern than the traditional Western version of Christianity. As Matthew says in the book of Thomas, for whoever does not know self does not know anything, but who that knows thyself has already acquired the knowledge and depth of the universe. The beliefs in the ultimate secrets of the Christian Gnostics is what's now they deem them as pagans, are the mysteries of mysteries to most people. They practice spirituality that is distinctly more Eastern than the traditional Western version of Christianity. Whoever knows the words acquired knowledge. These are the words of the Christ to Thomas. There's a Gnostic Jesus. The Gnostic Jesus is the one that they downplayed and they created their Jesus from. These are the words of Christ according to Thomas. These few words reveal the depth of the Gnostic belief system. This passage seems to say that the most important place to search for the truth, the divine, and for the ultimate knowledge of the universe is within ourselves. The Indian say that it is not by argument that the self is known. Distinguished from self from the body and mind. The self, the atom, or the atom, and if you break down into the metaphysical part of it, the atom, the highest refuge of all, pervades the universe and dwells within the hearts of all. You got way too much shit in your heart to burden it with human shit. You got way too much shit in your fucking heart. Oh shit. Wait, I gotta plug my phone. Wait. Oh wait, battery. You got way too much on your fucking plate to be worried about what Cardi B is doing, what Michael Jordan is doing, what R. Kelly is doing. You got way too much on your plate anyway. So then you start understanding the distractions that come into your life every day. You are the key aspect of the universe in itself. So why are you worried and distracted is the very key to you understanding yourself. I'm over here plugging in my computer, guys. All right, cool. But yeah. So let's go. The atom. We're gonna read more about the atom. The atom is the true inner reality of the spirit or the Son of God element within each of us. Alchemists say that the atom does not die. Energy does not die. Atom means derives to energy. Energy does not die. It is without end of days. When you start reading this, it's like, damn, so why do they keep talking about days, the end of days, and time, and all these constraints? These constraints and all these things are to distract you from getting into yourself. If I tell you got 24 hours in a day to do something, and on hour 12, you're like, well, I get off work at 9. What am I gonna do at 9? Oh, it's happy hour. This girls is free till 11:30. Guys is $20 at the door after. So you go follow your distraction. So you spend your time partying with no fulfillment. While when you're studying, when you get into that spiritual level of yourself, and we going through these texts, the Gnostic texts, the Gnostics were a fun bunch of people. Religion teaches you based on the moral, then you start understanding the moral standpoints. Everything in morality that's taught in religion is taught you to go against something. So everything, Bobby Hemmett broke that down. Everything that you were taught to go against, you need to run into. Some people will say, I'm spiritual, but I'm not sexual. Spiritual and sexual are they're the same thing. because the spiritual energy is a feminine energy. It's a feminine energy. So what's the byproduct of sex? Trying to get to that feminine energy. But you have to understand it on duality and balance. That's why, that's why we're on the planet. That's why when you look into a certain aspect of the byproduct of sex, the byproduct of Tantra is sex. So if sexual alchemy and Tantra is used to create something, and then the moralistic level, they tell you it's procreation, and it's only good for creating kids, the aspect of the Archon, whenever you look at any of these stories and how this realm was created, on the lower level, you create a child, you created a vessel for another soul to get trapped in here. But every text that I've touched and I've channeled, the resurrection, the Gnostics were anti anything bringing you back here. Anything that brought you back here, they were against. Anything that brings you back here, nigga, you shouldn't be fucking concentrating on. Anything that's going to keep you sustaining here, you shouldn't concentrate on. That's not what you should put your focus into. Your focus should be in the hunger of you gaining the knowledge and taking yourself to the next level. Not sitting here worrying about, man, if we get together, if 1,000 of us get together, if 1,000,000 of us get together, each with $1, we got $1 million. Okay, cool. What you gonna do with $1 million? Even if you have an economic plan in your hand, you still have somebody else's fucking money in your hand. The closest to somebody actually doing something is Akon building a city in Senegal. That's going to take 10 years to be built. It's going to take 10 years for him to build that city. And they start the first phase in March of this year. In March of 2020. Symbolism behind that anyway. He said he starts the first phase in March of 2020. We all know March 21st is the first day of spring. So he starts the first phase. You have to start study everything. Follow nothing, study everything. He starts the first phase in March. I believe he starts the first phase in March 13th, 2020. Right before the new year. Your year starts in March. If you don't understand, you didn't look at the message, you would have said, man, cool, that's cool. Hell yeah, he about to build a city. We all gonna move there. Half of us ain't gonna make it past fucking 30, let alone past fucking 10 years from now. I'll be, 10 years from now? So if my mindset was on human shit, my mind would be saying, yo, I'm going to retire in Akon. I'm going to retire in the city Akon built. You see how that? But think about everything that's going to happen between that you ain't going to pay attention to. Think about every distraction that's going to stop you from actually doing that. This shit is mundane to be thinking about. The Gnostics push that shit all the fucking time. This shit is mundane to be fucking thinking about. You thinking about do your red bottoms, getting the right pair of red bottoms to match your fucking skinny jeans, niggas, as well as women. They worried about that. But then I can guarantee within the next couple of weeks, they're going to say something about Flint, Michigan's water still being fucked up. They're going to constantly give you a fucking distraction. All the distraction is showing us the same fucking distraction as last year. You'll see how mundane and how much power they really don't have. They're giving what looks like power from a source. They're giving them ounce of power. They're giving a little. They've been. You can tell through all of the text. We taught them how to bathe. We taught them how to eat. We taught them how to cook food. We taught them how to do all this shit. That's what the Moors did. Okay, cool, bet. So if you can say that out of your mouth that we taught them how to do everything, where do you think they got the information from? Where are they still getting their power from? Got to go deeper than what you're thinking. But let's go back to this. The atom is the true inner reality of the spirit or the Son of God element that's within each of us. And also when you read these books, you got to read these books as a God. So as you start reading it as a God, you start taking pages out of here and you'll repeat this to yourself. The atom is the true inner reality of the spirit or the Christ element within me. You'll start changing the dichotomy of the books. There's actually a funny thing about changing the perception of reality. There's a ton of books on changing the perception of reality. But they'll sit there and they'll put the thought process out there and they'll say there's the different versions of the Bible. They just kept changing the versions of the Bible. They just keep rewriting shit in the matrix because something's falling apart. Remember, the only way something can be sustained is by constantly changing certain variables at that level, but maintaining the same formula. The formula at this level, as we know in America, the United Corporation of America, people want to call it, was built off of war, was built off of secrecy, was built off of hate, was built off of fear, stealing something. So what do you think has to continue at this level? There's always going to be some thievery. There's always going to be something stolen. Someone's always going to be murdered. They got to keep feeding what they're serving. They're simply feeding what they're serving. So you getting angry and wanting them to admit something to you, their intellectual ceiling is your spiritual core. You got to, wait, let me read. They're just doing what the fuck they're supposed to do. Everything's playing out the way it's supposed to play out. Where are you? Are you becoming it or are you serving it? The sun within each of us. Alchemists say that the atom does not die. It is without end of days and is absolutely perfect. The goal of gnosis is to discover this true inner reality, which gives us insight into the universe itself. I shall give you what no eye has seen, what no ears have heard, what no hand has touched, and what has never arisen in the human mind. These were the words attributed to the Christ by Thomas. The Gnostic believed that Jesus Christ was nothing other than the Atman or the atom, the inner reality of ourselves, talking in unity throughout history and mankind. The words of the Christ match those of the leading historical religious avatars because it is an archetype that exists within each of us. Close the book. Let's close the book right from there. That whole thought process, everything being within you is right there. It lets you, just reading that, lets you understand that you are the fucking Christ. They make it a man, they give it an image, so you don't think that you are that you can never be that. And then this is how deep the programming is. Since I gave you an image of the white man being Jesus, and you say it's Caesar Borrega, did you study the life of Caesar Borrega? They got a whole show on Netflix talking about Caesar Borrega and the crime family syndicate and how his uncle rose to power and being one of the most powerful popes of that time. But you still busy worrying about sex tape leaked out and Kanye West calling himself Jesus. Kanye West already called himself God like 4, 5, 6 years ago, 10 years ago almost. So it was damn near he was going to degenerate calling himself Jesus. Of course. Everything's doing what it's supposed to do. What are you doing? Nothing other than Ottoman, the true inner light of ourselves, which exists within all of us. The true Christ is the true us. The true Christ is the true us. Gee whiz. The true Christ is the true us. If we can obtain the wisdom and the knowledge of this true us or Christ, so basically I'm going to rewrite that. If we can attain the true Christ, the true us, and if we can obtain the wisdom and the knowledge of the true us, then we shall be able to see what no eye has seen and hear. Wait. What no eye has seen and hear what no ears have heard. We shall truly touch what has never arisen in the human mind. They're talking about your consciousness. On this level, one layer to this, they're talking about something that they'll never be able to touch. They'll never be able to touch what you have. They can mimic it. They can manipulate it in small fractions, but they never can create. Just like when they said they created dark matter. That whole story about creating dark matter, they're talking about they created a soul. That's what a black hole is. That's what they're doing. All they can do at this level is recreate shit. All they can do is, I'm going to take this and mimic it. I'm going to take this and make this that. They give you the information only after they've expounded upon it to the level that they can expound upon it. And then they put the word theory at the end of it. Theory of relativity. I did a whole lecture about the theory of relativity last week. The theory of relativity, the definition in itself, the missing variable in the theory of relativity is you. The missing variable in all of their theories is your soul. The one key element, the most valuable, precious, the philosopher's stone, it's all within you. So while you outside looking outside for red bottoms and worry what song you about to sing next and why rap music is so degenerative, there's another thing about rap music. They're following suit. Unconsciously, they're following suit. If I get to a point, to an apex of when rap was great, the golden era, can't nothing else come after this. Can't nothing else come after this. Then you repeat the spell. Can't nothing else come better than this era of rap music right here. What did you create? The era of rap music you have right here not being shit. Based on your thought process of saying it ain't shit. So once you deem something not worthy, and you don't look at it from the observation point, you looking at it not worthy, and you doing it from an ego standpoint, your humanity, that ain't worth shit to me. I can hide everything in there. I can hide every beat. I can hide every lyric. I can hide everything I need to hide behind that. And you won't go look at it because you're saying, oh, that's beneath me. I don't want to study that. I don't want to look at that. That programming is so deep. This is still the same programming. Everybody want to talk about I was in one of the groups the other day and they were talking about the Willie Lynch letter. And like, does it matter that was a man? It truly doesn't matter. But the same people were still thumping on talking about Jesus wasn't real. But you're still thinking about Jesus not being fucking real. But you can't even put critical thinking and say, was Willie Lynch? Does it even matter that it was real? The words in the text are proved out true. The person ain't even got to be there. The person don't even got to be in that fucking space anymore as long as the words are there. Knowledge is eternal. Knowledge is infinite. Knowledge is eternal. Knowledge is immortal. You're light. You're an infinite form of light trapped in a body, trapped in this body to do some work. You animated with your spirit every time you wake up. So putting these context clues together means you're here for more than just getting your net off and go spending your check to go buy lottery tickets. You're here for more than that. But it's up to you to find out what the fuck you're here for. It's right there in your face. The shit you love the most has the deeper understanding of what the fuck you're actually here for. But you're so stuck on, if I start doing this, it's going to take away from this. You don't even realize what you have based on the game. You don't realize what you gained in that mental sense based on your own ego. Man, let's go do this. Man, we gotta go to that club, look at that chicks. Okay, cool. I don't like strip clubs because I don't like being teased. I said that in my mindset the first time I went to a strip club. I went there for the lights. I went there for the music. I went there because my boys wanted to go to. It was always a celebration. We were celebrating bringing somebody's birthday, death date. That's what we did it for. But after a while, you like, there's really nothing fulfilling after it. I go into the club, then you just gotta pay more attention or put more of your energy into it to get something more out of it. You want to go to the back private room for a private dance? You can touch me in the back room. For the right amount of money, you can do more than touch her in the private room. Here's my number. Cash at me $40. But that $40 turned to $400. Now you just exchange your currency again for something. Sight. So that's why you're battling that depression that you battle back and forth, that depression that you battle back and forth. That's simply your higher self saying, I'm tired of playing this bullshit down here. That's where the depression comes in. That's where all the psychosis come in. There's an imbalance. So all this shit around here at this level is an imbalance based on your higher self that you need to understand. And it's put in your face. They keep pushing the LGBT. They keep pushing the gay agenda. They keep pushing the gay agenda on us. Okay. What are you learning from the gay agenda? Out of the 80 people that I've had conversations with before I took my psychology major to the more esoteric occult approach, most of the people that are in that mindset and that are locked in that space due to a childhood trauma. And if they didn't go through this, the ones that didn't go through it, somewhere down the line, so that shows me if it was a childhood trauma that triggered to them, and the ones that before them, they didn't get triggered by that same trauma, that means somewhere down the line in their DNA, in their ancestral line, they're still reeling from the trauma. You're still reeling from traumas that you won't go past because you're still stuck on certain aspects in this life right now. So you can't go any further forward because you still tethered to something that's behind you. Something's holding you back. Every time you try to leave, something keep holding you back. Yeah. Because there's still something you're connected to. That's why it still resonates. That's why it still gets you angry. That's why it still gets you riled up. That's why Trump can get on TV and say whatever the fuck he wants and say some shit that you need to fucking hear, but you're still so stuck on your hatred or your fear or your lack of understanding for what the reason, the purpose that he's been placed there. You don't listen to what the fuck's being said. Their arrogance is your way out. This motherfucker created a space faction. He said in his speech that he's going to create a space faction to police space. In his arrogance, and everybody laughing saying he was an idiot, he literally just said he's going to create something that's going to, in the mundane level, is going to defend us from space. On one level of interpretation and us understanding, they just said, again, after they said that, they came out with the universe has a consciousness. They're getting so close to you. They get so close to you. Because then your Saturn distractions run in alignment. He created a space cadets, whatever the fuck they call. They said the universe has a consciousness. They're going to do some shit about Iran war to strike fear and try to bring unity. This bring us all together. That way they can still feed from you. The space cadets ain't got to do shit but defend from space. But in your mind, you already have the connection of understanding that the universe has a constant scale. The universe is a reflection of you. And now they're gonna do a war in Iran. So now they got the fear aspect. So now they got the symbol, the repetition, and the trauma right there in your fucking face. The symbol, the repetition, and the trauma in your face. And if you feed into any part of the distraction, they now can feed from you once again. If you feed from any part, I give you the symbolism of 9/11, I give you the contradictions of 9/11, and then I give you the repetition of the contradictions and everything about 9/11, and then I give you the distraction about another 9/11 street, don't forget, and you feed into any one of the traumas, I now can feed from you freely. Can't nothing stop me from feeding from you. At this level, everything is exploited. Are you becoming or are you serving? Are you going to come the energy? Or are you going to serve it? All right, cool. The secrets are more profound than most people suspect. The truth behind some of the most inadequate. I already did the part about we truly touch has never arisen in human mind, because what we shall see is more than just the creation of humanity. Boom. It lets you understand the creation of humanity. This was created to sustain the younger gods. That's written a lot of text. When you talk, when you look at the Titan myth, the whole entire Titan and the Titan mythos. When you look at the entire Titan mythos, you start breaking down. You're like, wait. Then they crumbled them down, and then they crumbled them down, and they put them into the lower levels in the hell. This is hell. This is hell. Earth is the prison planet. Hell ain't nothing but a prison. You imprisoned your mind in the hell, and now you're trapped into your body. If you're here listening to messages like this, and you're expounding yourself into the knowledge, and it's expounding you to do something more, then you know what part of you know what side you took. You know what side you're on. Because if you weren't listening to these messages, you weren't listening to this knowledge, and you weren't getting this information, it wasn't hitting you, you have one of two choices. Either you're one of the dead, or you're one of the entities used to feed this level. Through chaos, I can insert anything into your world. If I keep you concentrating on hope, and this chaos is going on, chaos and calamity over here, I can do whatever I want freely over here. And I ain't got to worry about you looking at me. I ain't got to worry about you trying to come find me. I ain't got to worry about you trying to contest me. I ain't got to worry about that. So let me put these distractions in your face. Let me put a distraction in your face that's not going anywhere because it's only sustained on this level. Let me put white people in your face. Let me put white supremacy in your face. Let me put racism in your face. Let me put homosexuality in your face. That shit ain't going away on this level. Those are degeneratives of you that have been twisted on this level. That's all it is on this level. Constant chaos. It has to be constant chaos for this level to be fed. Are you going to become the chaos, or are you going to serve the chaos? Serving the chaos, go ahead and keep being scared, keep being fearful about some shit. You'll serve the chaos. Becoming the chaos to become something more. You must die before you die to rise. The secrets of the ancients are more profound than most people suspect. The truth behind some of the most enigmatic problems of mankind's history, including the Temple of Solomon, are held within the mind of man. These problems were previously identified by our ancestors. That means he scribed this from somewhere else. But the answers have been lost. On one level, when they uncovered the information, every time you hear lost, they're referring to something that's inside of you that they can't get to. So, of course, by definition of the word lost, if they can't get to something inside of you, it's lost. If I drop my keys into the damn, what's that thing where the water comes into the storm drain, and them bitches go away, they're lost to me. I can't get to them. I can't find them. They're lost because I don't have the knowledge I don't have the knowledge to create the ability to get my keys out of there. And then you get creepy ass shit there's creepy shit down there. So your subconscious automatic, there's something creepy down there. Alligators in the sewers. Nigga, you got it down in the sewers. Nigga, I ain't going down there. There's something scary down there. Because your ego is defending it. That's how your ego defends shit. So they give you a scary ass movie. They give you a scary movie. Your subconscious records it as real. So every time you go past a warehouse, you go past a abandoned building, you go past an abandoned building or an abandoned house you think is haunted. Man, there's something in there. I don't want to go in there. Because your ego is defending you from going into it. So that's on the closest physical level. So on the grand scheme, I can create reflections of that very thought process throughout your life, throughout your day. I can put that around you all the fucking time. So you won't run towards it. You'll run from it. The only way to face something is to run towards it. Shit don't go, how Jay say it? Time to go back and go forward. Can't run from the pain, run towards it. But everybody gets stuck. You won't even, Jay-Z wasn't that great of a rapper, so I don't listen to his music. But then you miss the jewels because of your hatred. Because of your hatred for man and your lack of understanding of man, you don't listen to the message that was, what's the word? By the custodians or man. They're custodians. All of these are conduits and custodians of something that you need to learn. Everything around you that you want to put so much hate on, so much emphasis on hate, is a conduit and a custodian of knowledge that you need to learn. If you don't want to learn it, then it's lost to you. Because you don't have the ability, you don't have the confidence in yourself, or as I like to say, the Godfidence in yourself to actually study it. You might change the music because it's depressing. A little fucking depressing. Don't turn it up a little bit. That was a little bit sad. With where we at? This one. All right, cool. Got some Indian water in the background. These problems were previously identified by the ancestors, but the answers have been lost. There's an entire story about how the ancestors, how the Kemites created an elixir, which is an allegory, created an elixir that locked all the knowledge within your DNA, or they say the helix. They said they put it into the stars with the helix nebula, Big Dipper. When you go into the astrology and you link these things together and you make understanding, you're like, it's locked within inside you. All of these stories are talking about something's inside you. The more energy, the more knowledge that you obtain, you're applying it to you. It's talking about you. You must read it as that. So you can't look at this information saying we were gods. When the fuck did you stop being a fucking god? Who told you you weren't God? Who told you you weren't a king? Who told you you weren't a queen? Who told you you weren't what you were? And then on the other end, they showed you that as a black man, as a black woman, who taught you how to hate yourself? Even the words that they said at that time have a deeper meaning than when they were said based on your level of consciousness. You can go back and read the whole biography of Malcolm X and the teachings and the writings of Malcolm X, and you'll get an entire different interpretation based on your level of consciousness. You can go read any book written by the noble Drew Ali, and it will have a whole different context because you're reading it as a fucking god. You're reading it as you read the Bible as the fucking Christ. Then you understand what the fuck you said to yourself at a point in time. And then you get to the Gnostic text, it's in black. Then you understand what the fuck you said to yourself at a point in time. And then you get to the Gnostic text, it's in black and white what the fuck it actually was. It breaks down what the fuck that came from. So when they broke it down, it was to understand, because on your decline, when anything declines, it's moving at a slower rate. So it takes more for it to speed back up. So what stops your flow, your Kundalini energy? We'll read that next. Modern man strives to explain man's existence with rational and logical thought. But in doing so, the modern man has all but destroyed the secret knowledge that can no longer be understood, the language of our ancestors, who diligently recorded their discoveries regarding our existence, life after death, and the ultimate evolution of our own consciousness. Because of mankind's attempts with manifesting the mystical into the physical world, we have lost the knowledge of these mysteries, creating puzzles that we must now solve. We shall never find the bones of the apostles, for they never truly lived as real people. We shall never hold a fragment of the true cross, for it was never carried out. It never carried out its crucifixion. We will never find the Holy Grail, for only exists within the mind of man. The serpent grail goes deeper into that. And we will never find the Temple of Solomon, for it is man itself. The Temple of Solomon is the Temple of Dendera, or the body of Osiris. The 14 sections. Then you go into the Kabbalistic text, and it talks about the tree of life, and you talk about Doth, and you talk about Star Wars, you're talking about the dark side. All of that shit is synonymous to you. All of it's synonymous to our divine spark, tapping into our divine darkness. All of it's combined into that same level. Where are we at? At a time in history, I would have been burned at the stake for presenting this knowledge and contained in this book. The oracles, the seers, the ones that have the divine spiritual gifts at this level are byproducts of what you were then. They can peep into the spirit world. You reading tarot cards, you doing pendulums, your spiritual gifts, you training your discipline to your spiritual gifts. Eventually, you don't need the cards. Eventually, you don't need the pendulum. It's a tool to train you. We get stuck on the mundane aspect and use that as our catalyst. Once you understand the spell, you manipulate it for your own gain. But you're not willing to go to the next level of gaining something. So you stay at this level where you're comfortable. I'm comfortable reading tarot cards. I'm comfortable being a psychic. There's something more. So the ones that read to study and not do it to follow, because when you follow something, what you're telling your own soul is you're not ready for something. When you follow something, what you're telling your soul, what you're telling your true self is, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go to, I'm not ready to die yet. I'm happy here. The minute that you do that, you become a servant of something. Something can now feed upon you. The true are very few. The true are very few. The amount of information and knowledge is only going to go to a select few. You being able, listening to this message, whether it's your first time in here, or you've been rocking me for a while, You've been rocking. You've been listening to Panic lectures, Phil Valentine lectures. You've had that hunger for knowledge. You are the select few. The fact that it resonates with you and you want more of it and you're in search for it, that is the hunger that you need to continue feeding. Do not allow that hunger to be distracted. The more hunger you get, the more distracted you can become. You're easy to be distracted. Remember, I just told you, if you're sitting there on your couch and you ain't ate in 3 days, and somebody walk in with a pizza, fuck what they talking about. You'll listen to anything that they fucking say for that piece of fucking pizza. If you've been sitting outside in your car with no gas, and if somebody comes by with a gas tank, you'll listen to anything they say to get that gas in your car to get you to your destination. Inward. You don't need anything because you have everything already. You don't need anything because you have everything you need within you. It's just going to take you actually putting in that same amount of work you put in at your job, and you get tired at the end of the fucking week, and they give you that little bit of paycheck so you can go buy some shoes or go get your hair did or whatever you may do. It's the same fucking work, double, that you need to put into yourself. Because as long as you want to need something, you're always going to want to need something. That's how that generates. That's how they generate your feeding. That's how they generate through your emotions. I would have been burned at the stake for presenting this knowledge contained in this book. That still might happen. Many before me have attempted to reveal the Gnostic secrets, have been silenced, or have been forced to conceal the truth behind incredibly symbolic language that only a few can understand. They wrote it in your spirit. The movie Legion, when he says, find the directions, and then he's riding in the car, the instructions. What that's showing you is they refract, you absorb. Light, the brighter the light sustains and refracts, and the darkness absorbs. But the darkness also creates. So it creates more light. So at this level, you being the power source, I got to keep you stimulated by refracting something I don't want you to get past. I'm the refracting. So I must put something here for you not to get over here. On both sides of the light is darkness. Your fear, your insecurities, all the shit that you need to work on, sustain the light on this end. So what's sustaining the light on this end? Something of equal and greater force to you is on that side. You get it? Yeah. Hold my phone up like this now. I feel like I'm reading story time. Many before me have been tempted to reveal the Gnostic secrets, have been silenced, or have been forced to conceal the truth behind incredibly symbolic language. The book of law is written in such a symbolic language, but when you actually start breaking it down, all it's talking is sex magic. All of Aleister Crowley's books were based on sex magic and invoking sex magic and fucking prostitutes and dining their essence, the chrysalis or the cream pie, as Brother Panda explains, that breaks that down. The cream pie or the Eucharist. It's actually called the Eucharist. Whenever we talk about the sword, so when you look at these books, talk about the sword and the flaming pit, they're talking about the vagina and the penis, the phallus and the yoni, the vesica and the divine staff, the staff of Moses parting the Red Sea. Moses parting the Red Sea. On one level, you just think they're fucking sick. But where did they get their information from? They only have the ability to be the custodians of a certain amount of intellectual property because they can't go to the next level. So when you're reading the text, it's taking you to the next level. You're using it to go to the next level. You're already at the next level. That's why you read it as a God looking down. That's why they always say God looking down upon his children. You're the God looking upon your fucking children. Everything's playing out where it's supposed to play. Where are you at? Only those who knew the secrets right here found it. Only those who know the secrets have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. Men whom we would today call alchemists and occultists that hid their understanding behind a language of imagery that was multi-layered, the story within the story. And it has taken many years of searching to uncover the truth. That goes back to every time they get information, when they bring it to you, when they bring the information to us, when they bring, the D-Wave computer, when they bring, we broke down the DNA genetic code. They did that 10, 20 years ago. They had the information 10, 20 years ago. What they're doing with it is they have to make it into an intellectual standpoint to make them feel like they're superior. The whole breakdown of white supremacy is them making it seem like it's something that they're superior to something. They're withholding and defining something to make them feel more superior because they have the power to define it because they have the knowledge. They're the custodians of your shit. That's all they are. They're custodians. But instead of then you think of a janitor that's cleaning up shit. In their mind, they are cleaning up shit. You're cleaning up shit for it to look good for them. Because, and this also breaks down when you think about Africa, and they say Africa's so well impoverished, and they show you all these scenes of Africa, but then you look at Ghana, Senegal, you look at these places and you see these beautiful ass fucking huts, but are fucking mansions. They bent an image into your mind so you don't look any further. So if they would bend an image of telling you Africa is all this and this and that, which there are certain places that are underpoverished, that are not refined to their standard of the image, you won't go look at it. You won't go over there. You won't embrace the feeling. If I show you over and over and over again, like Grandma's Boy and all the movies, when they show the new age person, and they're all full of beads and crystals, and they're all floating, and you worried about staying grounded so you can pay your electric bill, you won't rise to the level that you need to rise to. You see how the programming works? The programming works. It is still in your subconscious. But step by step, we're breaking it down. As you rise into your consciousness, you're breaking down their matrix, what was here. So everything's going to it's going to go from the mundane level, such as controlling your urges for sex and controlling your urges to do this. You don't have to control any of that shit. You just simply have to understand it to use it for your benefit. Understanding the spell, you manipulate it for your own gain. You're supposed to indulge in what you understand. Indulging in knowledge, the byproduct is anything that comes from that knowledge that you created. Religion, based on the Gnostic text, deems against that. Don't go look at that. Don't go study Kemet. Don't look at any pagan teachings. Don't look at anything that we deem as a heathen. I'm a heathen. By definition, you're a heathen. By definition, you're the devil. By definition, you're a demon. You're the Damien. You're an intelligence that they run away from. They hide in the ignorance. So they hide in ignorance and they mask it in the byproduct of sin. Their lack of knowledge is your understanding of your knowledge. So yes, by definition, you're a sinner because you realize that knowledge is infinite. So you're always going to be a sinner. So they program into your mind that if you come over here and you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're no longer in sin. You're no longer going to search for any knowledge outside of me. So you'll serve me. You'll never become me because you'll serve me. And then the multi-layers, the multiple universes that they replicate, the realm of money, the realm of entertainment, the realm of sex. They create the realms, and since you don't understand the realms, or you have a lack of understanding of the realms, in your ignorance, you feel that it's a sin. So you turn it backwards. It's a sin for me to indulge in sex. When in reality, the tantric alchemy being the highest science and creating nothing from something. What's the mundane that you get from when you have sex on a mundane level? You produce a nut. You produce an orgasm, or what people think is an orgasm. You produce something, and at the highest peak of it, at that intellectual ceiling, you produce a child. And now you're distracted and taking care of the child. I'm going to give this child everything I didn't ever have. I'm going to give this child everything I didn't have. I'm going to give him all the joints that he wants. Give him all the candy that he wants. He's not going to go without anything. She's not going to go without anything. So then you spoil them and then you train them. Hansel and Gretel. You give them all the candy and all the riches of the world. You're your own fucking devil. You're your children. You become your child's own devil. Because you got to remember, your heart chakra, that land where Jesus met the devil and he was standing there on that mountaintop and he was saying, I can give you all the riches of the world, your lower three chakras. I broke that down in the shadow work lecture. Your lower three chakras, I give you all the riches of the world. Then you operate in your lower, then now you're stuck. And now you're operating in your lower chakra system. You're stuck in your root chakra. You're stuck in your sacral chakra. You're stuck in your solar plexus. So the power is still coming down, but where it's constricted at, it trickles down. It's still trickling down, and it's going to naturally, gravity pulls everything down on this level. So it's going to pull it down to where the source of where it's strongest at. So you're basing your life on surviving this level. Everything that you invoke is going to serve your survival, not becoming your serving. Y'all add on that? Make sure y'all add. In an imagery that was multi-layered and has been taking many years of searching to uncover the truth. The truth is you. The language of the adepts, whether written, spoken, or in art, became as the esoteric, in that only those who understand will be able to decipher the hidden meanings within the definition of the true gnosis. We just read 2 pages of the damn book, and it just gave us all the information that you would need to expound upon you going deeper into yourself. Just grazing the books. You having a certain level of your spiritual clarity and your spiritual intelligence. You read everything you heard and read everything that you needed to hear to confirm where you're at. It's all about confirming. Once you get to a certain spiritual level of channeling, and you're channeling in that information for however it comes to you, everything that you read is only confirming what you already know. So you're reading as a guide, understanding yourself based on knowing, based on your belief in your faith, in your knowing yourself. The exoteric is believing in something outside of yourself knows more than you. So when you sit here and you want to serve the Orishas, you're saying they know more than you. I become Shango. I become Ogun. I become Ombatala. The Ifa training, the Ifa, the Santa, the Santeria. I become those things. Understanding the language, understanding Lucifer, Hades. You become these things. Understanding the Indian from, we're forgetting names. Wait, they're coming back to me. They want me to say it. But once you start understanding them, and understanding and invoking that energy and understanding that it's you, then you get the true names. On the understanding of what you're now serving is based on how much power was put into it. And it was said in the Titans, the class of the Titans, why were the gods getting weaker? Why were the gods getting weaker? Because the humans weren't worshiping them anymore. They need you in a constant state. The archons, the evil entities of this level, need you in a constant state of worshiping something to feed this level. So at a point in level, after you get to a point when you need to be studying and not following, study everything, follow nothing, study everything. When you get into that aspect of you studying to understand yourself, because you're only understanding yourself. It's another aspect of your energy or a power or a source of your power or your divine spark that you're getting closer and closer to. That's why at a point in time when Bobby Heyman was bringing out and speaking the gods into existence and invoking that energy on that level, that time is gone. The ones that are still following and didn't study are still depending on the Orishas to give them their stuff. And the Orishas are going to give them whatever they require because that's their feeding source. The Santeria spirits, they're going to send us the Santeria spirits and the gods and the deities to that level. They're going to continue giving them those that serve them what they need because that's their feeding source. The ones that are expounding upon and Kemites and being Kemites forever, they're going to keep getting everything that they need from the deities, the principles, Thoth and Anubis and Osiris and Set and whatever they want to put themselves under and cloak themselves under because that's their feeding source. So at this level, if you're feeding upon something, if you're being fed upon, you're going to get the bountiful feeding of everything that you need. But until you start taking true responsibility in yourself, you're going to eat and never be fulfilled. That's where that comes into that being fulfilled. I'm constantly fulfilling myself in every level that I get to. So when I get to the next level, I step into that level as an equal. So I'm not feeding anything. I'm being fed. So while I'm in that level, the ones that are at this level are now that energy that they're feeding Baron Samni and Shango and Oshun, that energy is being evoked into me. But if I stand in the distractions, then if I go to that realm and I get stuck in that Sephira, when you talk about the Kabbalah, you look at the Kabbalah text and you look at that tree and you see the Sephiras, what Sephira are you stuck in? What Sephira are you feeding? Because the zodiacs, when they did them as animals, they're the same principal deities as you look at. You can line them all up. They're always in 12s and 24s. These are numbers that you get stuck in. So they're 12s. The 12 zodiacs, the 12 orishas, the 12 principles, chief principles to commit. The 12s, the 12s, the 12s, the 12s, the 12 years on the calendar, the 12, and then the 12 hours in the day, because it just doubles up. Then they just double up on top of each other. They're all synonymous. The 12 disciples of Christ. All of this shit serves you. So in the aspect, who's in charge? Something that don't want you to get back in charge. We're the old gods. We're the old ones. We're the great old ones. We're the great fathers and the great mothers. You feel me? We're the great mothers and the great fathers. You did? That's what we are. We're older than life itself. That's why we connect to certain aspects that they use to distract us. So if you get stuck in the golden age of rap, the golden age of music, I'll put everything I need. I put everything that you need to do about being a monster, Future, Hendrix, about all my friends are dead, talking about new spirits. You won't be able to interpret the new or what's been put into the dark because it become dark to you. Since you're in the golden age or you're putting the light on the golden age, you won't go into the darkness of a little Uzi Vert. You won't listen to XXXTentacion. No matter what they say, it won't resonate to you because you're not on. You don't want to look at it to study. Study everything, follow nothing. I didn't say follow Cardi B, but look at some of the shit. Even, and they say even the demons are used in the works of God. So you can hate Cardi B all you want. I love Cardi B. In the aspect of I'm studying what she says. Because she said some very fucking, and she said some very stuff on a very intellectual level that sparked my thoughts into my spiritual intelligence. 21 Savage said some shit that sparked my spiritual intelligence. I listened to a Drink Champs interview, and all the Drink Champ interviews go the same. I love Nori, love Slime Father. Love the Slime Father. But his aspect and the and the contradiction is always weird. It's always funny when you start looking at it because they don't look at us that same way. So they don't respect us, so I won't put them on this platform. And then you look at it on Revolt TV and it's on Tidal and you look at where it's at. Everything's playing out the way it needs to play out. How are you looking at it? If something tells me not to go look at something, based on my knowledge, I don't want to play it safe anymore because I'm a god. I know the worst thing that can happen if I go look at somebody I'm supposed to look at, I'm just going to transition. And then I'll be sitting up there in my damn work. I'm sitting up there waiting. Man, I should have went and go look. I should have looked at that before I did this, before I transitioned. And then you're like, fuck. The moment that you say that, you're back down here. Because you feel in your heart of hearts that something is still here for you. That's how it works. You feel in your heart of hearts something here is still here for you. So you keep coming back to it. And then it reflects in your everyday life. You keep going back to those same dead-end relationships. Even though you know they've been over. You keep trying to go to those family functions and change their minds about the things that you're going into, but you're no longer related to them, so everything you're saying is unfamiliar to them. That's how everything comes back around full circle. Everything comes back around full circle, and you're a part. And then because you want to be a part of it instead of understanding that you are of it. It's remnants of you. Reflect on it. Don't grieve. Reflect on it. I had a conversation today that I reflected upon what I was then during that time when in that moment that at 4 or 5 years ago, I reflected on it. I'm reflecting on it from this space. And I'm like, I'm thinking about everything that I had to do when I was doing my shadow work at that point in time, what I had to go through. The physical representation of that was right there, and I had a conversation with it. But instead of I was not emotional towards it. The entire conversation, I just was spitting out light. Some was heard, some was not misinterpreted. Taken for what it was. That person was still in that space. And that's how they connected. You're going to get into this time. That's how that time warp happens to you. You're going to get stuck in these spaces, realizing there's nothing really there anymore. How many times have you walked into a space where you used to have the best fucking time and now you go there and you don't feel shit? The Book of Thomas, the Gnostic Jesus said, so where are they walking to aimlessly? Even heaven and hell are going to disappear. Once you get to a certain level, the shit, you no longer need it. Once the student is ready, the teacher appears. And when the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears. Because the student becomes the teacher. Because the teacher and the student are on the same side, two different sides of the coin. You're the creator and the destroyer, two sides of the same coin. You're the light and the dark. You are all things. You are of all things. The God consciousness, the Christ consciousness. You're going through the studying process of taking yourself to the next level. What's stopping you and hindering you is the death of your humanity and your ego, the death of everything that's tied to your humanity and ego. In letting go of these things, you got to let go and be like, I got to let go of all this shit. I got to let go of all this shit. And then you realize you don't need it. You're getting stuck. I need to do this. I'm hustling to do this. I'm hustling to do this. I'm hustling to get this. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. So why are you killing yourself to go get something that's already there for you? That's the whole point of affirmation and the manifestation, correct? To speak about it as if it's already there. To move as if it's already there. You want that big ass house on the hill? The space that you're in right now, treat it like that big ass house on the hill. Do everything that you need to do in the place that you're at now, like it's the big ass house on the hill, without getting stuck in the materialism. That dream job or career that you want, you need to act at it. I was always taught this, even when I was in when the job I worked, one of my mentors, he told me, dropped that knowledge on my head and was like, in order to get to where you want to get to, your mind already got to be there. Your mind already got to be there. I took that knowledge from when I was doing my shadow works and remembered that little tidbit of gold. I took that little piece of lead and I turned it into gold and applied it to where I'm at now. So now I'm a God. But now that I'm a God and I'm striving to be something more, I must study being a God. I must study as a God. I must study being a God is from the level of the occultist, from the level of the alchemist. So now I'm an alchemist studying the creation of the God consciousness. I'm an occultist studying my own consciousness. You're the teacher and the student. You're a titan. You're older than that. You're the great old ones. But you have to study everything that came after you to know you. You're so far ahead that you're behind. You're so advanced that you're now behind. You're catching up. They're catching up to you. That's why they show it in your face. And your humanity and your ego, like, damn, and then you go get the new iPhone 16. And then you'll get the new Samsung Galaxy 93. That shit, I can just think. And that shit send my text messages. And they show you these little fragments of futuristic shit to keep you stuck. Like, yeah, see, we advancing down here. Ain't nothing advancing down here because you've already done it. Been there, done that. So you getting stuck on it. Once I say you getting stuck on, yo, man, we need black dollars in black communities. You already did that shit. Why are you going to repeat something you've already done and mastered? Once you master it, you move on. Once you got everything you needed to get from that space, you move on. You can't get stuck in the space. You can't get stuck in the time loop. We got old heads out right now, still roll their pant legs up. You got niggas out here right now that you can tell are stuck in time by what they put on their body every single fucking day. They got the retro Jordans. They got the throwback jersey. But they still trying to fit into this realm. So they still try to cultivate it to be their style. But they just lost in the time loop. They just lost in the time loop. You're an infinite being. You can't get lost in the time loop. You can if you get distracted, you'll fall back down. You'll fall from grace. You'll fall from grace. Trying to do something that you ain't supposed to be doing, you ain't standing on your square, you'll slip and fall from grace. You ain't nothing but loose. That's where the Lucifer myth, that's where the whole Lucifer allegory comes from. You're the bearer of light. getting burned at the fucking stake because you tried to put something out there that they weren't ready for. Now you ain't physically getting burned at the stake. You mentally getting burned at the stake. You metaphorically getting burned at the stake. They killing something that don't exist anymore. The worst thing that they can do is bring up the old memories of yourself. The only thing my mother can do, and I love my mother dearly, still love my mother dearly, even though she's a nice, beautiful, she's a nice Christian lady. Still have love for her because I have an understanding of where she's at and the fear that she can't let go of. She must sustain her beliefs in her reality of her knowing for her to get everything that she's getting where she's at. The ones around you that we presume are dead must sustain their beliefs in their reality to continue getting what they get, whether it is negative or positive. Whether it is negative or positive, it's about the control of their reality. If you sit and go to a certain point in time in your life and you don't want to go past a certain space, you will continue to feed in that level based on what it is right there at that space. So the traumas that you don't deal with, niggas ain't shit. So in order for you to feel superior, think about the reflection. In order for you to feel superior, you stay in a space where you're greater at. You stay the big fish. You stay the dumb nigga. You're the smartest dumb nigga in your circle because you don't want nothing to challenge you. And that's where the falsification, toxic masculinity comes in. You don't want nothing to challenge you. You want nothing greater than you. You either become what you hate or you become what you love. You hate the white man so much that you become the white man. The same way that they're the custodians of knowledge and the sprayers of knowledge and holding on to something over and over again, you do the same shit every time you say that we're Kemites. You do the same shit every time you say the Moors do the same thing that don't go deep. Anybody that doesn't expand and study and go further, you sustain that area. So now you go from the feeder to the feedee. No, you go from being the feeder to the one being fed upon. I have no want or need at this level to sustain this level. So when I channel and when I get into the channeling and I gather that information, that divine knowledge, my only job is not to harbor or be the custodian of knowledge. I'm putting that shit out as soon as I get it. I'm putting it out as soon as I get the channel. It's out there. Whether I put it on the YouTube channel, whether I put it in the podcast, whether I put it on a live on Facebook, whether I put it on my IGTV, no matter how that knowledge get out, I've created the angles for my light to control my light and will it in my way. So I don't care about their looks. I don't care about what they say I need to look like. I don't look like I wasn't them in the first place. I wasn't human in the first place. So everything that you do as you're living spiritually, as you're uncovering that veil, you're exposing yourself to the truth of yourself. You're looking at the beautiful hue of you. That's why I can look at myself and I look motherfucking divine. I'm a fucking God in my own fucking creation and own likeness. I created my God self in my own image because this is the image that I portray in the physical realm and it does what it's supposed to do. To the dead that see me with piercings, my nose pierced and my piercings and my gauges and my locks, and I braided my locks because I was feeling real. I wanted to do something different. And I'm bracing, I'm locking in my information. I understand the process of everything that I invoke my energy into. So I don't wear it as a badge. This is my protection. People want to talk about how do I protect myself? by invoking your power into something else to make it the force that protects you. You do that by your own mind, your own words. As soon as I say I am sick, you get sick. As soon as I say I am health, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am of knowledge, I am of no burden, guess what? The shit that was my burden, the shit that worried me, that shit comes up. I have to face it. What was I worried about? What was a burden of mine? Oh shit, it's in my face. That's what I was burdened with. That's what I was God. I ain't coming there as a fucking human. I ain't coming there as a fucking, I'm not gonna serve. Let me go serve up these white people so I can get my paycheck, so I can keep my lights on. I go in there as a fucking God. That level of confidence, that level of confidence makes it impossible for me to I don't have to worry about what the fuck I'm doing, because I'm doing what the fuck I need to do in that realm. Because I'm not serving that realm. That realm serves me. Their offering is now, my paycheck is now an offering based on work I put in. If I want more, I got to go to a different realm. This is how you don't get stuck. This is how you don't get stuck in your ignorance and run away from your sin. Run away from being a sinner. Run away from being a heathen. This is how you navigate through these realms. They're not to be. I'm not going to celebrate that I'm a fucking Aquarius. My birthday's next fucking month. My death date's next fucking month. This is actually going to be the death. I'm going to celebrate the death of who I was last year. Who I was last time. That's what I'm going to celebrate. You laying the rest. You laying the breast, Carlos. You raising up Lucifer. I am Satan. That's how you become these things. When you look at red being Shango, Lucifer, February, hearts, Valentine's Day, study the mythos of Valentine's Day, and you study it, you understand why you were born why you chose to go there in the first place. It all starts making sense to you. Like, damn, I was born in February. I was born in February after Valentine's Day. I was born on the 16th of February. You start breaking down shit differently. I took 18 hours for me to be born. The number 18 is a divine number. If you put 1 in the 8, the 1 disappears. So the 1 disappears and I became infinite. So it took 18 years. It took 18 hours for my infinite structure to land into this vessel to take on the works that I needed to do. I remember my entire birth. I remember my entire travel down here. The reason that it took 18 hours for me to get here, because I was mad because I had to come down here. But then I accepted it. Oh yeah, I got to come down here. Got to put in some work. Hopefully this time I remember what work I got to put in, or hopefully I actually get to the works that I need to get to. Then I go back through my Akashic records. I go back through my Akashic records. I had to learn the breathing exercises all over again. How I was breathing at that time, what I was wearing at that time, what I was doing at that time, tapping into those energies, tapping into the deep part of myself. But in order to get to that, I had to get through all this shit that made me who I am to understand what I am. You got to put in the work. Ain't no one going to put in more work for you than you. Ain't no one going to put in more work reflected of you than you. My man Derek Gray says that all the fucking time. And he just started talking about frequency. But he been talking about frequency. Once you get to a certain level, you understand everything you need to understand and maintain that level. Once you understand the spell is now yours. You can now cast your own spells. You should be writing down your own shit. Everything's a fucking spell once you learn how to write it. My little sister, which is the oldest twin, was writing down songs for no fucking reason. Didn't understand why the fuck she was writing down songs. Now it's going to be up to her to actually understand, like, nigga, I was scribing fucking songs. That's on her, though. For me, that was a reflection of me understanding that I can scribe down and write down this shit. But you get stuck in the mundane. I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna write my life down with the pen. And then you realize in order to get some hits, you gotta get fed up. You gotta have a certain amount of energy. You gotta have a certain amount of energy in that realm. And then you gotta go earn that from something else. So you're becoming or are you serving? So if I listen to M and he say he the rap god, good for you. I already did that shit. I ain't gotta go back there anymore. There's no benefit there for me to do that. So we just read that part. Look the way my phone locks up. All this right here. Da, 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 da. Everybody sharing stuff. That's always good. It's always good to see knowledge being your whatever you put out being shared from a humble standpoint. Because that means the knowledge is doing what it's supposed to do. Even if someone takes a tidbit of your gem of what you have and you write it down, and then you take it out. Even if someone takes a tidbit of your gem of what you have and you write it down, and then you take it out, you just laid out a breadcrumb. You have to look at it in the aspect as a God feeding his children. That's the story behind Jesus feeding them with the loaf of bread and the fish. You're a God feeding your children. You're a God feeding your children. That's that compassionary part. You must allow what you feed them to do what it's allow the knowledge to do what it's supposed to do. The blind can't see it. The deaf can't hear it. The ones that can't walk upon it. That's how that shit breaks down. Those who have little knowledge of the Gnostic traditions, the concept of our ancestors that had a crane secrets that remain relevant today. Those who have little knowledge of Gnostic traditions, the concept of our ancestors held a crane secrets that remain relevant to today. Might seem quite ridiculous. However, there is more relevance to you and everything you know in these ancient and sacred secrets than anyone else will ever come across. I just told you how old you were. The knowledge that you're coming upon is older because you're older. It lets you know how old you are. It lets you understand that you're infinite and you're immortal. Embrace that shit. So when you step into these other knowledges of understanding yourself, you got to break into your fucking knowledge. You got to study yourself. Study yourself. Your reflection of you studying yourself is everything that comes out to you. You look at it as just studying it. So you don't get stuck on the mundane humanity part of, but I loved him, but I loved her. Your concept of forever changes. They weren't meant to stay there forever. They were meant to teach you something. What they taught you is what sustains forever. What you learned is what sustained forever. What you didn't learn is going to sustain forever until you learn from it. And then it will repeat itself in another physical manifestation. So if you ain't learned the part of you that ain't shit and you keep attracting ain't shit niggas, is because you ain't learned what ain't shit in you. You ain't learned something powerful about yourself. You ain't embarked on something that's powerful within you, so you keep looking with outside of you, so you keep getting a remnant or something of a conduit that will serve as an illusion or an image of something that you need at that point in time. Learn from it. You hating bad bitches is because the bad bitch is a reflection of your lack of understanding of your feminine energy. A fuck nigga is a revelation to you, the God, of an aspect of you not understanding something of your masculine essence, your masculine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy. We're androgynous by nature, by the definition of androgynous. So why do you think they push the homosexual agenda? As a distraction. So you don't understand the counterbalance of understanding that it's a on the higher level, it's a degenerative aspect of you, split apart and twisted around. Those who are not worthy shall become the other. Those who are not worthy of the light shall become the dark, and those who are not, those who are not worthy of the dark shall turn to the light. Only those that are truly worthy of the dark shall understand the light. Now it's going to take me a little bit of time to realize where the fuck I channeled that from, because it just came out of nowhere. I might be reading ahead in the book, because anybody that's followed me along in most of my damn lectures, I'll read something in a book. I'll say something long before I even read the book out loud, and then turn to the chapter in the book and go right to the same page. That's your divine gift, to be able to point out and see through the story. That's that multi-layers. Known in these ancient secrets more than anything else you ever come across. The knowledge within this book is so powerful that it will change your life. It is not the knowledge that is wrong, rather than your perception of it. It's not the knowledge that is wrong, it's your perception of it. It's not your knowledge of white supremacy is wrong, it's your perception of it. It's not the knowledge of racism that is wrong, it's your perception of what it is. It's not your knowledge of why you think being gay is wrong, it's your perception of it. It's your perception of these things. I just said that. It's your perception of how you take it in. It's going to keep presenting itself to you till you actually realize what the fuck it is. You don't want to know what the fuck it is, you're going to keep preparing. You're going to keep being distracted. You're going to keep getting upset, keep getting mad, keep getting sad. But everything's doing what it's supposed to do anyway. Even with the, I'm going to break that down. Even with the homosexual agenda and transgenders and all that, white people at this level are still dying faster than they're being born. Their mortality rate is greater than their birth rate. Every time a conscious nigga wakes up, a devil loses his wings. An angel loses his wings, gains his wings. You're the devil to them. You're Set. You're the original. You're the old one. The old one is Set. The attributes of Set were broken down in Osiris and all the other attributes of the ones of the children of the sun. So every time your humanity dies, one of them gets their wings. Without life, there cannot be death. So every time, you're winning on either end. Every time you get conscious, one of them die off anyway. Or however many of them. I'm not saying one of them. A whole drove of them can die off by one of your consciousness. That's how powerful your power is. And then they got to increase the distractions. But they can't do anything else outside of the distractions but create more distractions. That's what they're doing. They give you a distraction. The same shit over and over again. They give you Desert Storm all over again. They give you the war in Afghanistan all over again. They're doing it over and over and over again. All they know how to do is destroy. They have the destroy part. All they have is destroying. They can't create anything. They need your fear to create something else. The whole scare about concentration camps, they plug that bug into your mind, that manifested in your subconscious, your sunken space. And then, nigga, now you got all the damn conspiracy theories talking about concentration camps. You got these lost, dead woke niggas talking about, I don't want nothing to do with no goddamn Baphomet. Okay. You don't want nothing to do with your own. I don't want nothing to do with no damn Jesus or Allah. You don't want to understand the 12 aspects of yourself and your 13th being the Christ consciousness. And you don't want to understand the 99 attributes of yourself. You don't understand the story of Moses, so you don't read the Torah. Study. They don't tell you to follow the shit. Study the shit. You getting stuck by following it. By running away from one thing, you following something else. It's natural. It's by the nature of the game. If I'm hating on this, it means I have to follow something that contradicts that goes against that. So I'll follow this. So if I follow this over here, that means I'm against them over there. On this level, you see that shit all the fucking time. Bloods and Crips. Real niggas versus real black men versus kings. Fathers versus baby daddies. Mothers versus baby mothers. Real niggas versus real men. That shit happen on this level all the fucking time. Exploiting from one side or the other. And you looking at, I'm a real man. I'm a real black man. But you still got niggerish ways. That's why the niggas still resonate and make you angry. Because you still got nigga in you. You don't believe you still got nigga in you until a white man say you got nigga in you. So then you get, man, I ain't no goddamn nigga. I'm a god. I'm a king. All right, cool. Then act as a fucking god and stop getting mad at nigga shit. See how you contradict yourself? Living in the contradiction? You want to be a part of something, so you live in a contradiction against your damn self. Instead of following the contradiction that takes you to your next level. Studying. The hunger. You ain't hungry no more. You can look at a lot of these people on, you can look at a lot of the motherfuckers on fucking YouTube, they ain't fucking hungry anymore. So they talking about the same things. They reaching. There's a motherfucker out right now that is reaching, that put out a debate challenge to the LGBT community. How much of your ego do you need to inflate to reach for something of such? Because if you were truly teaching, you would just teach the entire premise. But your lack of understanding, wanting to appease your ego, has you locked in a space. You locked in a realm. You locked in a cipher. I don't date Scorpios. Your distaste for a Scorpio is because something within the traits within the Scorpio zodiac are within you. So what part of you do you not want to face? Because that's all it is when you're facing somebody, is a reflection of you for the next level that you need to get to. Surprise. That's what it is. That's all this is a learning experience. Like right in here, he just said, I always believe that there was more ways to life than meets the eye. That means there was more ways. There was more ways to the light. There were more paths to life than can be seen by these two eyes. I would have heard a little bit. I knew there was some subtle ongoing propaganda machines on motion around the world. They range from marketing firms to public relations departments to intentional companies, organizations, the crossovers between all organizations. These crossovers use techniques in marketing and propaganda to manipulate the masses to distinct, controllable animal pens. And let's use propaganda to make you want to be a Mason. That breaks down, motherfuckers talk about the government, not liking the government. Two wings on the same bird. Republicans, Democrats, two wings on the same bird. Two wings on the same eagle. The eagle being the hero or Haru. That's what they used here. The urge. They gave you a different face. They put your face, they put their shit on, they put them on. What they've done the entire time when you come into your beginnings of your consciousness, you'll see that they put their face on your shit. They put constant images of them on you, on them shit. So when they put the image of Jesus, When you get into the different concepts of Jesus and they put their face on you, they gave their self a version, then they tell you you didn't have a history. You don't have a culture. You didn't have a history. You didn't have a culture. No history, no culture. So what black culture, where did they get all this shit from? Everything from the way they rock their hair, their fur, to the music they listen to, the way that they dress, all that came from you. So that makes you think, if it all came from you, who's really in charge? You never fell out of life. You never fell out. You never fell out. You never fell out of power. Your kids are in power. I shall create them in my image. It's deeper. You created everything at this space. We are the great old ones, as Bami Himid said. We're the great old ones. So of course we created all this shit. We created this whole system. Went to sleep to understand our own system, our own works. Because if you don't understand your shit, how else can you appreciate your shit? And then they gave you mundane shit on this level to keep you knocked out with your shit. Kept you locked down with your shit. Keep you locked in with your shit at all fucking time. Keep you locked the fuck in with making you think something outside of you is better than you. They keep a reflection or a refraction of something that's used to starve you and feed them. To starve you and feed them. Bobby Hemmer talked about the boule. Then he talked about the gay boule. Panic talked about the boule. Phil Valentine talked about the boule. Dr. David Blair talked about the boule. How many people got to talk about the boule before you realize in the Encyclopedia Britannica, you ain't even got to go that far and that deep to find this information. In the Encyclopedia Britannica, the definition of archons is what the motherfuckers in the boule call themselves. They're lesser entities. They're lesser spirits. They're counterfeit deities. So they gave you counterfeit deities. Even when you look at any fucking all these fucking stories, especially if you just look at the Kemet part and you look at the attributes of Set were split upon all of these, Osiris, Haru, and all of them, you get stuck in the Haru part being that. Now you're serving Haru or you're serving Osiris because that energy has cycled back to you being here. That's why you're here now. That's why it's present. As this world degenerates, the spiritual world rises back up. As the masculine sets, as the sun sets, the moon rises. The feminine aspects have risen. It's not rising to take over anything. See, that's the aspect that people get stuck on. And that's what's programmed into our heads, that the patriarchal society has been in power for so long that now this structuring, this is how the spirit works. This is how the spirit works. Said, tell him, I'm gonna tell him. This is how the spirit works. Why do you think everything is to be observed? Our women, our queens, are now the most intelligent and the highly paid in any field. College rate, work rate, they're the highest. Because the spiritual aspect has to rise, and the feminine aspect is the wisdom must rise in order for there to be balance. So then when you start looking at things like that, you start seeing the distractions of why they push the transgenders, men wanting to be women and men wanting to have kids. And then they'll say the first birth of a transgender, they put that in the news. And then it deters you from wanting to study. Because now you're distracted on something that you didn't want to study. Damn, that shit, damn, man. They advancing their shit. We need to be marching. Fuck you gonna march for? We did that. Been there, done that. What you gonna protest for? Been there, done that. You protesting for what benefit? You marching for what benefit? You want them to change some laws here? The laws that they put into place that weren't meant for your god ass? You still trying to follow, you still trying to live by their laws when you should be living by the universal laws. You trying to understand and make their laws make sense for you when your laws were even theirs. They living by your laws in their own intellectual ceiling. They're living by your laws. By nature, by natural, they're living by your laws. Mentalism, the mind is all and everything is mental. So they program your mind every single day with everything they put on TV. The law of vibration. They understand on a lower vibrational standpoint, so they keep you at a low vibration. So they make your music low they put your music at a lower frequency. Cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect. And that's called an uproar. Your effect is your emotion. Let's feed upon it. The law of gender, everything has a masculine and a feminine principle. Let's downplay the feminine energy and make it like women are stupid and they did all these deadly things and keep them in that lower level so they mundane. So anytime they can outreach for a man is when they want to have sex with them. That's one way they can get their attention. They follow all your shit to a T. They follow you. They doing everything they supposed to do. But you trying to be a part of it. They doing everything they supposed to do at this level. But you trying to be a part of it. You trying to be a part of their shit. You trying to rock with their shit. You already did this shit. So what the fuck's the point of you trying to rock with that shit? It ain't you. You did it already. So when that blackface shit hit the screen, I laugh at it. It's funny. When they did the greatest monkey in the jungle, I still went to fucking H&M. Because they had that leather jacket that I wanted. But it wasn't leather. Because at that point in time, I was heavy into my vegan, so I didn't want to have no leather, kill no fucking cows. These are the aspects in understanding yourself and stepping away from what we think is needed and stepping into something more. As you start getting deeper into the Gnostic text, you're going to start seeing that everything that you're thinking is disconfirmation because it makes sense. You're not looking at it as a human anymore. You step past that realm. You stepped out of that shit. But you got one foot in the door and one foot out. What is it going to take if they whipped you, beat you, raped you, pillaged, did all this shit to your ancestors, and you still here, you still survived. They still survived through some of that shit. Some transition and came back. And you here now. They can go through all that shit and still stay true to themselves. What's stopping you from staying true to yourself? The worst thing that can happen to you is they take you out of your human misery. That's what you're trying to do anyway, through acquiring and applying your knowledge. See how that shit works? The concept works. Everything circles back around. Tap into your infinite being. Tap into your infiniteness. Tap into your greatness. You weren't. Stop using the spell. I was a god. I was a king. I was a queen. Stop using the aspect of I was. Stop putting yourself in the past. Living in the past, you'll never see your fucking future. Because you'll never get into the presence of your divine power to create anything moving forward. That's the whole concept behind your shit. That veil that once that veil uncovers, what you gonna do? Once the veil's removed from your eyes, what you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with all the information that you take in? You gonna go crazy, become an angry ass conscious person and be on fucking YouTube or fucking your Facebook page, your Instagram and your Snapchat, taking your phone and hiding it to an angle, looking at white people, say, look at them motherfucking monkeys. Look at them fucking idiots. Being distracted because you gotta look at it, make sure you got the right angle. Then you gotta feed your ego, so you gotta put yourself in the picture a little bit to smile. The fuck you doing with your shit? The fuck you doing with your life? Existing? You existing on this level? You maintaining on this level? It's more to that than that. It's more to all. There's more than that shit for you. You destined for greatness, but you forgot what your greatness was. You forgot how to use your shit. You did. It's deeper than what most of these motherfuckers are ever going to expound upon. That's okay. Only a select few. You are part of the selected few. You rocking out with this type of shit, this information, this knowledge, you're the select few. Even fewer are going to go to the next level. So you ain't got to worry about, it's not quality, it's not quantity, it's quality. If we sit at a table and they only got enough food for, let's say, 12 people, the 13th and the 14th person going to either have to share with the 12th person or they ain't going to eat. Or they going to learn how to pull up their own chair and prepare their own feast. Let the dead lay with the dead. That's the key to your survival. That's the key to your rising. Understanding where you're at and what to do with it. Understanding your role in the play. Understanding that you created the role in the first place. So why would you give yourself a role of an extra? That's where the visualization that I started teaching. You start visualizing those multiple scenarios in your mind to beat down, to beat it. It starts in your mind any fucking way. I done created countless scenarios in my mind and I defeated them. Now I'm plugged into my visions. Now I'm plugged into my channeling. As it gets stronger, I use it for what it's used for. I'm not serving anything. So when I get a channel, when I get a divine vision and it's included, I don't have to, I gotta go share this with, I ain't gotta go sit in a room and light it with candles and have someone come in there and give them their vision, because I'm not serving anybody. That's the difference between becoming and serving. See, when you serving the spirits, that's when them channels come in and you channeling everybody else's shit, because you have to pull people in. You gotta bring in the cattle. You gotta put them in that pen. You gotta lead them to you so they feed off of you. So you feeding them. And then in turn, that energy is coming to you, and return that energy is going to whatever Orisha, whatever Apollo spirit, whatever spirit that gave you your light. This is that question and answer period. We winding it down. There's a reason that everything comes to a 3. It's that question and answer period. If you got a question, you can drop it up in there and we'll answer. We'll put it up in there. Every answer is actually a question of something. Every answer is a question of somebody. Every question is an answer to somebody else. If you haven't already went to the God Hour podcast, it's available on most platforms. I know it's on Spotify and iTunes, Breaker. It's available on most platforms now. So you ain't went into there. Keep out the God Hour podcast. New episode drops every Tuesday. This week's episode was the Divine Hue or Divine You. Getting past the aspects of more into the reality of your understanding yourself. Always breaking down the jewels on there. Set Colonegis is my Gmail. setcarlo@gmail.com. Drop a link in there for information in there regarding to that. I'm finishing up the website now for the spiritual work, the spiritual consultations and whatnot. For the consultations on your spirit work, shadow work, candle work, those methodologies, visualization, guided meditation, and many, many more aspects. If you are interested, if you're hungry and you want to do more for yourself, want to get more into deep depth into yourself, or even if you're a peer and you would like to share some experiences and we can build a bond on that, building that gateway of light as we bring people in to rise out of their humanity and ego. What did I learn this week? I learned from a conversation that I had 4 hours ago. Maybe 4 or 5 hours ago. I think it was around 4 or 5. And it was a conversation with somebody that I was involved with. And she brought up everything that happened around that time. And it was a very humbling moment to myself, because I could have literally went the egotistical route and fed into the confusion, but instead I broke down the confusion itself. I literally broke down the confusion itself and shed light to a lot of things that were said, things that were done at that point in time. And actually, I gave her kudos, because a lot of the aspects of her that she was working on or brought to the surface of herself were a reflection of things that I actually need to work on for myself. So every aspect of your life, relationship, whatever it may be, even if it was your worst relationship ever, actually taught you something. You just got to look past whatever basically ego derivative there was in that to actually learn something about yourself. So that's what I learned this week with that. And I'm learning more about synchronization. A lot of the times I'm having conversations that lead up to the notes of my lecture. I don't write down any of the notes from my lectures at all. I don't rhyme what I write. I don't write what I rhyme, because I'm in a divine, I'm learning more. I'm learning how to be more in tune with my divine powers, my clairvoyances, my psychic abilities. I'm learning more and more and more as I go along. Certain things are popping out to me, like I gave you that book list, and I'm looking at a couple of those books tonight and probably earlier on in the day and throughout the week. And I might drop some of those jewels that I find and confirming certain things. I'll drop those in the podcast. I'll drop those throughout lives. I'll drop those throughout the week. Point of view going into this knowledge of information, main thing that I'm learning is I'm uncovering the veil is every bit of information that I bring out with is not to be dispersed upon the dead. It's supposed to be dispersed upon the living that are on their path. As I become a teacher, I'm still a student. I'm still studying myself. I'm learning to study myself more, I'm learning more about my synchronization of myself. I'm learning that I can let go more of my ego more, letting go of certain fears or aspects of if I say something is going to offend somebody, but it's based on their understanding. If they want to understand more, they'll ask more. So it's like, it's not my job to it's not my job to tune this work to fit something. It's already doing what it's supposed to do. My work is to carve out and create angles to be fed upon, not to be in the preacher aspect. When you look at the exoteric, you look at preachers, their aspect is to carve a path for you to follow. My knowledge is when the knowledge hits you, it's for you to carve your own path. That's the difference between esoteric and that. That's the exoteric versus the esoteric. That's the spiritual being or that spiritual entity or that teacher or that healer. Like a healer doesn't heal you. They teach you how to heal yourself. A teacher doesn't teach you to teach you how to teach yourself. It's all about becoming equal. Are you becoming? Are you serving? That's the whole thought process behind lifting that veil. You gotta lift that veil up. Are you beginning? Are you being? Are you becoming? Or are you serving something? That's that level, that understanding of yourself that only you can understand. You may be at a certain level, you got to serve something till you get to a certain point. But at a certain point, you start, instead of serving, you start becoming. At a certain point, you should start wanting more. Your hunger should always increase as you fulfill a level. Every time you get to a new level, it's a new level of hunger. Every time you get to that new spot, it's a new level of hunger. Are you going to be hungry enough to be fed and become something greater? Or are you going to keep yourself in that lower level? No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. No, I'm scared of that part. The fuck you scared of? You scared of life, then you scared of death. Because to understand death, to understand life, you got to understand death. What moments do you hear your ego the most as a teacher? For me now as a teacher, the biggest thing for me is every week, I do the lectures every week. And little small parts every once in a while, like, why didn't I get this many views? But then I think about it. I'm thinking about, I'm putting out light. I'm thinking of how fast I'm putting out light. As soon as this shit come to me, I'm finding which space I'm going to put it in. I'm finding out which space I'm going to put it in. I'm finding out where I'm going to put it out at. So for me, I got to be like, you know what? Let me scale back, put this information out, let it do what it's supposed to do. The ones that it's supposed to touch is going to touch. The ones it's supposed to reach is going to reach. I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Worrying about how many likes and how many follows that I get, and outside of the learning aspect of what I need to go deep, how I need to dive, what I need to dive deeper into, that's the only time I use it for. Like, you get to a point where you kill your ego and then you bring it back. You learn yet? Oh, you didn't learn yet? Then you kill it. You're constantly killing off certain parts of yourself, and you have the power to bring it back to life. So the part of my ego that's still pliable or voluble is the part that helps me see what I need to see and dive deeper into what I need to focus on. It keeps me in my focus. The only part of my human self that's left is the part that only cares about me rising and going to the next level. Everything around me must be a reflection of that. So I'm defended by what used to defend. I'm defended by what used to be my offense. You're just turning everything from offense to defense, or defense to offense. Just like when you look at any book talking about your body, your metabolism, everything, when you go vegan or you switch to a more plant-based or a more whole food, it's telling you on the esoteric level, it's telling you eat these certain foods and it does this. On the esoteric level, when you study it, it's telling you that as you rise into certain different parts of your body, certain things you can't feed anymore. Certain things you're going to turn off, certain things you're going to turn on. There's certain hungers of me that are not at a lower level. My urges would get the best of me and I would feed them, and I would cause confusion to my higher self because I'd be clouding my higher self. But now there's certain parts of me that are just off. I use them at a different rate. I use them at a different time. I find something has to be deeper for me to expound and actually have the urge and the hunger for it. Tacos and Coronas ain't gonna feed me no more. You did. Tacos and Coronas ain't gonna feed me no more. 1,000 likes on Instagram, that don't feed me anymore. Mad fucking views and shares on my Facebook, they don't appease me anymore on the level that they appeased me before. Now when I see likes and shares of the knowledge of the stuff that I put out, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I do more of. That isn't going to stop me from doing what, but that little line between that is that shouldn't stop me. It's more fuel in my fire to actually put out more it lets me know that my passion is in the right alignment. A lot of times we get stuck in the manifestation process that if it isn't working the way that we thought it would work in our mind, instead of creating a scenario where it works based on the fundamental aspects of that, what we're doing, we look for something outside of us to validate us. You look for something outside of you to believe in you so you can stay where you're at. But yeah, that's that moment. Do I hear my ego? Now it's like, keep going. My ego tells me to keep going, where it used to be like, nah, don't do that. Nah, don't say that. The discipline, as I said before, the discipline in doing what you want is higher than the doing what you can. Doing what you can requires outside disciplines and outside factors to keep you in line. Doing what you want requires inner disciplines and inner workings and the inner works that you do to yourself to do what you want to do. It's different between, you can say your name is 1,000,000 fucking times, put yourself in third person, be happy all 1,000,000 times. But what are you doing with the knowledge of yourself? What are you working on to inspire yourself? What are you working on to take yourself to the next level? That's all it is putting in that work. The same way you go to the gym and you would go to the gym and you work out, the same way I go and I do my runs and I do my whatever, I can do less of the physical because I'm more in tune spiritual. So it's nothing but a thought to me. If I sit here and say I feel fat, then I'm fat. If I say I'm in shape, when I go to sleep and I go to that realm that I created in the astral realm, we'll get into that next week. When I create that astral realm for myself, in that realm, I'm healthy. So I have a realm of health. So I'm tethered to my own realms. I serve myself. I've become the highest. I've become the most high. So I serve myself. Let me type that in the little thing right now. Set. Oh, whoa. Too high. I'm going to put my email address in the comments. Jot that joint down. Drop your little information in there. If you want to build or get yourself to that next level, we can discuss what needs to be discussed to bring it up and bring you into that. This is whoa. Not paying attention. I spelled that all the way wrong. All right, I spelled it right. So yeah, that's the email address right there. Yep, that's right. That's the email address. I'm going to put the link in for the God Hour podcast so everybody knows how to spell that shit. Because I still got people saying, how do you spell it? Nigga, how do you spell God? God is an acronym. Once you get to that level, God Hour podcast. New episodes every Tuesday. They drop at 6 a.m. It's a good way to get your week started because it's only one day. It's only one day that matters, and that's today. So that thought process, this is how you break this is how you break yourself from certain aspects. I don't even remember what day it is most times until I say it. I don't know Friday night lectures until I've told myself, okay, Friday night lectures. I literally have to project and tune in to something to actually understand the shit. That's that level. When you living in your spiritual level, shit don't concern you no more. Shit don't concern me more, boo-boo. So I got the God Hour podcast. And as always, it is much appreciated. It is a much appreciated factor. So I can still create and do what I do and keep making this shit grow and growing the platform, especially since I do plan on doing the live in-person lectures pretty soon. I'm actually looking at venues and putting together spots and thinking about certain areas I want to do that in. So if you have any ideas about places, venues that are great to host in, and I'm not talking about for like 2 hours, because I want to do, when I do those, I want it to be an event. We're going to build an event on that level. You feel me? So building that event, shoot that in my email address. Give me where you at. Where are you at in the world? Wherever you at. So we can get everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Because I love doing the Friday night lecture, but it's like I have a hunger. This is what I talk about with that hunger. I have a hunger to increase and expand. Because it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I just put up from the Godical Alchemist, that's me. I don't know why I always do that. That's like from that childhood of mine. Set Calling Needs is my email address. Within this week, I think I'm going to drop the website, the Godical Alchemist website. On the website is going to have all of my services, my blogs, the blog posts for the God Thoughts. I'm also going to put in the blog spot for the God Thoughts. If anybody's familiar with my Facebook page for God Kings, Aunt God Queen, Goddess Queens, that's where I started this. I started this on there, putting the God Thoughts on there, and then I was like, anything that I had an interpretation on, I understood it. I actually started with chakras. So basically, as I came to this space, then I started going through the chakras. That's when I did shadow work. That's when I did the reaping. The reaping was my first lecture live on YouTube, September 13th, 2018, the first full moon. I've done everything in tune. You ain't got to think about it once you're doing it. Once you're in it, you ain't got to think about it. It happens naturally. That's what living spiritual is. I don't have to, I got to make sure I go do the full moon ritual. I am the fucking moon. I understand that energy. I am that. I don't serve the moon. I'm an equal to the moon. I am the moon. I don't have to say, let me go point to the west and the east. That's that esoteric. And look at the sun. I am the sun. So when I embrace and look at the sun, my download is different. I'm taking it as an equal, not as a server. I'm downloading it as a partner, as an equal to it, as me. I'm taking in me as me from a different angle. But yeah, setcallingneedles.com. Got email links. You know what? I'm actually gonna put it out there today. Tonight, we gonna do it. We about to do it. Uh-oh. We about to do it. I'm about to release. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. That's for something else. But yeah, God Hour Podcast. Tune in. You have not subscribed to get inside. 12 episodes in on season 1. I think I'm gonna close out season 1 on my birthday. maybe. We're going to do that one. We're going to close out on my birthday. Set caller needs us for information, link up, networking, building up on that level. My Cash App is LuciferSamdei, $LuciFersa, capital SAMDEI. Drop something. Show your support. That will further help the creator create. It's at this level. Once you understand the spell, you understand how it works. So my Cash App is open. You drop something in there. It shows your support for the knowledge, your love and support for the knowledge, and it allows me to continue pushing forward in the knowledge. It gives me more freedom to move amongst the realms. That way, as I'm moving amongst the realms and I'm bringing that knowledge down, you're able to move amongst the realms and bring that knowledge down. I'm a conduit. I'm a man pointing, as Phil Valentine points out. I'm just a man. I'm a God pointing. I'm the crossroads. That's just that Samdei. I'm Samdei, crossroad demon. That crossroad God. You at a crossroad. What you gonna do with the information when you get it? It ain't shit if you got it and you holding it. How are you applying it? We might do an after hour show. Feeling real antsy. Might do an after hour show on Facebook Live, my Facebook Live. My Facebook Live is also, all of my social medias are Raw Color Nijas. My Instagram and my Facebook are Raw Color Nijas. I have not reactivated my Twitter account yet, but I will be reactivating my Twitter account, and there's also Raw Color Nijas. It's all spelled different ways, but you type in Raw Color Nijas, it pull me up anyway. If you're not subscribed to the channel, much appreciation on that. Subscribe to the channel, like it, share it, hit the bell so you know whenever I'm dropping something new. And other than that, grand night, gracious slumber. Much appreciation to everyone that stepped in and got that groove of that knowledge tonight. And I love you. We love us. Peace and Ashe.